Hey everyone, today is Thursday, the 24th of June 2021. This is Gap, episode 571. I'm Luke Lawrie. Joab Gilroy is here. And Joab, I have something to tell you.
Go.
My name is not actually Luke Lawrie. It is Hideo Kojima. And this is a Metal Gear / Silent Hill podcast.
Silent Hill podcast.
For so long.
You fucking boomed me. I cannot believe how many fucking years has it been, and this is how I find out.
Yep.
How could you do this? This is ridiculous. What about when I was trashing Death Stranding for like months on end and you were joining in?
I made that game for
you.
you. It was for you.
That is crazy. It was another classic Luke, air quotes, troll to fucking boom me.
Yeah.
That is spectacular. Well, Hideo, thank you for the great games and the not so great games. I can't wait to see what you do next. I'm very excited. Obviously, you'll stay on the podcast because of contractual obligations. We got you locked in for the next 15 years. But yeah, like, you know.
Hold on. Sorry. Xbox is calling. 1 second.
Oh.
Yeah, no. They said no deal. No deal.
No deal?
Yeah,
no
we
deal.
We can't do it. No more podcast.
No more podcast. Hang on. They don't get to say this. Okay, we've already. I keep saying Series X/S instead of Xbox X. Right. So we're in the clear. Right. That was the deal. We're in the clear. They cannot fucking shut us down if I say Xbox Series XS instead of Xbox X's. Xbox Sex is so much worse than Xbox. I'm just gonna go back to sex. I think sex is just.
Yeah, I think it's Xbox Series. Like, is that what it is as a whole? Is it the series?
Is that what you're supposed to say when you just?
I don't think that's how they describe it. They usually like do the X pipe S.
What is that? What is that?
It's pipe.
Character called pipe.
Yeah.
It's not called pipe.
It's called pipe.
It is not called pipe. I'm fucking looking this up. What character is? What Unicode is this? Come on.
Maybe it's a
vertical line / vertical bar.
Okay, that's not.
Pipe.
It's called a pipe.
Who says pipe?
Who says vertical bar?
The internet, I suppose. It's better than pipe.
What's the other one? Do you call the other one a horizontal bar? Like a hyphen?
What, underscore? Underscore?
Yeah, underscore. That's the lower
underscore hyphen.
Lower horizontal bar.
Lower horizontal bar. I mean, it's descriptive.
Yeah.
It's better than, what do you call it? Flat pipe? Ground pipe?
Yeah.
Yeah, under pipe.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, you've been following all this nonsense on everywhere about whether or not he's making a stupid game?
I was ground floor on this shit. Everyone else jumped in way after I did. I was like on this shit well early. I don't know if you saw, I was tweeting out some of my favorite conspiracy theories. My favorite was the guy who was like, in the director's cut trailer for that terrible game, Death Stranding. Snake tries to look at the director. Here's the full text. Look at the Death Stranding director's cut trailer. Stan takes a cardboard box, brown, from which some oranges fall on the ground. I know that it's a Metal Gear Solid reference, but if you remove the color orange from a brown box, all you have left is a blue box. Confirmation. Like, that is so divorced from just, like, you can't argue with that, because what the fuck would you say? Right? Yeah. Like, you'd be like, that, yeah, I guess, right? Like, it doesn't not make sense.
Is this the sort of stuff you're feeding the conspiracy theory nuts?
I'm reading a really good comic at the moment called The Department of Truth that deals in a lot of conspiracy theory stuff and like sort of also deals in like why conspiracy theories like take hold and stuff. And it's pretty like it's a pretty good read. It's definitely worth checking out if you can find it. It's not easy to find, but yeah, it's a really good read. Definitely worth reading. The other one that sort of dealt in the same sort of areas, it's how I got onto it, was the latest Constantine run by Spurrier. Like the last 12, 13 Constantine issues are all conspiracy theory related. And yeah, really good reads. Good stuff. But yeah, no, this blue box conspiracy stuff, like it had to have started as like oh yeah, we'll like this'll drum up a little bit of interest, right?
Mhm.
And then someone's like grabbed onto it and they're like invading some sort of like we are literally just short of the point where someone goes into a pizza store trying to find a basement that doesn't exist so they can free children. Like that's where we're at in this conspiracy theory. It has gotten so wildly out of control. And yeah, we're at that point, I think. Like they have let it go way too far. They need to do something to temper this shit. But the thing about conspiracy theories is that like proof that a conspiracy theory is incorrect
Yeah.
is generally just used to as proof that it is correct. Like it doesn't matter what you say or do at this point. Like it's gone. It's away from you. And yeah, it just I feel really bad for them. When's the trailer for this so-called game out?
I mean, it's out. The initial teaser trailer is out, but the next one they're saying is still a while off.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've been doing like.
I thought they were going to do another one real soon.
I think they're doing very like slight Q&A sort of stuff at the moment, just to temper people's expectations at this point. But they're still being very, like, quiet and like avoiding certain questions and things like that. There was that Bloomberg article that apparently like Jason Schreier spoke to them for an hour, even though his article was very light on content. Like just them not answering a bunch of questions about who's funding them and just weird things like that as well. Like I understand that. I mean, I'm like 90% convinced that this thing is not a Sony joint, but at the same time, there's so many weird connections that just don't make any sense, and you're like, all right, there's a chance. It's definitely fucking strange.
That's the thing about it, right? Like it's just there are little things that you could point to, and then people get just further and further out of hand with it.
Yeah.
Right? Like and you get to the point where people are like, oh yeah, oranges falling out of a brown box means blue box type shit. Sorry, the thing that's supposed to come out today or tomorrow is the app was delayed a couple of days, not a second
app?
trailer. Yeah, there's
What
some
is the
sort of
app?
promotional app that they're bringing.
Oh, great. Yeah, and this is definitely a Kojima game, and if they're releasing some sort of app.
Right? Like, there's so much. Yeah. Anyway, it's not Kojima.
No.
It's not Kojima. I'll bet you. I'll bet you. I'll do a bet with you.
What are you gonna bet me? I'm
whatever you fucking like, mate.
I'm telling you that I don't think it is.
You reckon it might be? I'm saying it flat out isn't. You don't
No,
want
I'm saying that you can't. There's obviously like weird stuff, and I'm saying I do not think it is at all. I don't think it is.
All right, okay. You said like 90%. You said there was a 10% chance that it could be. You didn't want to rule it out.
I don't know. I don't want to rule it out. That's what I'm saying. Is that there's some weird thing. They could definitely turn around at some stage and be like, "Aha, jokes." It is something with Hideo. Whether or not he's, maybe not as involved, but sort of because I think what is the like? He has some sort of studio in the Netherlands, and this is a studio from there. And what else is there? Like this guy's name is translates to Hideo when you do it from like Turkish to English, and
Turkish to English to Japanese, and yeah, all these tiny, tiny idiotic things. Yeah, for sure. But still,
yeah.
come on.
I mean, this thing goes two ways, right? Either it is or it isn't, and if it isn't, it just means a bunch of people are going to be really upset and disappointed. But at the same time, it's gotten this studio a bunch of eyeballs onto it, and I think at that stage, it's very hard to, I guess, get rid of that hype, or like you've sort of blown this thing up so much that whatever it ends up being is not, unless it is the thing that the people want it is, it's not going to be like what they want. So you've kind of, I think at the end of the day, they've fucked themselves out of this by like teasing all this little weird shit, and it's not going to do them any good. I feel like
No.
like it has done them good up to a point. Like it's gotten more people to talk about this game, but at a certain point you pass a threshold and then it just becomes like you leading people on, and it's just going to piss off a bunch of people. So
Like the idea that, there's no such thing as bad marketing, right?
yeah.
But there absolutely fucking is.
Yeah.
There absolutely fucking is. And yeah, they may have reached that point at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Should we talk about some games? There's a lot here.
Sure.
There's tons of games here, actually.
Let's
Last week, we talked about the Steam Next Festival. You'd played a bunch of games, and we've got some more here to talk about. So we might go through this list. I think I've played some of the ones that you've played, and vice versa. So,
Well, I think last week I had played the Xbox demos, the
right.
Summer Game Festival demos, but this week, yes, Steam Next, which is over now. But anyway, such is time.
So I checked out Terra Nil, which was the one at the top of the list of the most popular or the most downloaded, or I'm not really sure like how they're measuring those stats and numbers, but this was the one at the top of the list. Yeah, it's a weird one. Like I really enjoy the aesthetic. It's basically the idea is what sort of happens when you take a city builder and make like a reverse city builder, and you're trying to do weird things with the environment, and you've got a bunch of different tasks that need to be accomplished, and in order to do that you've got to build certain structures in specific areas, and then when you do that, that allows you to then build more things around that area. And so you're sort of like starting off very basic and then working your way to a point where like, all right, the air pollution here is at this level, and now this allows you to do this other thing. It's now raining, and that will fill up all these rivers, and then once you make all these rivers, you've got to build these boats, and these boats allow you to collect certain things, and then that turns that stuff into this thing. And it's a very strange like it starts off as like a desolate wasteland, and I think the idea behind it is what would happen if you made a sim builder, and once you get to the end of that sim builder, everything explodes and the world turns to shit. Like, what if that was your starting point and then you work your way backwards? I think that's the sort of thing that they're going for with Terra Nil. It reminds me a lot of like those old SimCity sort of building games. Specifically, It's got that very similar art style as well to those games. And I, for the most part, really dug it, except there's a lot of obscurity in there in terms of like why you're sort of building this stuff. I think they've got some work to do with the like explaining exactly why you're doing certain things and how that affects the environment around you. Because by the time I got to what I think might have been the end of the demo, I didn't really know how to finish the demo. It was asking me like, here is your goal. You need to sort of recycle all of the things that you've built already, and in order to do that, here are the steps that you need to do to accomplish that thing. But then I got to a point where I'm like, I don't actually know how to, like, I don't know how to recycle that thing that I need to recycle because it's too far away from everything else that I need. Like, I need to build certain chains to get to that spot, and I don't know how to get there anymore. Like, I've sort of fucked myself at this point. Like, and I've run out of resources that allows me to build stuff, and it just seemed like a point where like I spent I don't have it in my list anymore, but I spent like 40 minutes in this game, and if I was to start again, I'd have to start again from scratch. And even if I did that, I don't really know what I did wrong, and so that was the problem for me. Is that I got to the end, I knew I was in trouble, but I didn't know how I got in trouble. Like I didn't know the solution to correct that problem in the future, and so that was kind of a bit of a bummer. But I like the idea and the concept of it. I just hope that as they, because all these games are going to be talking about now, they're all demos. They're not early access games. They're just stuff that is coming that I guess will be either released or in early access at some stage. So they'll be getting feedback. So yes, I like certain aspects of it. I think it's really cool and an interesting take on a like a city builder game, but with a twist. And so I'm hoping that once they do get to early access or release, that they've tightened up some of those tutorials and really made things a bit more easier to digest and understand what it is you need to accomplish and how you accomplish those goals. Because I think it's really cool. Did you check this out at all?
No, I didn't. It looked interesting, but I wasn't really in the mood for. People were like, "Oh, it's so zen and stuff," and I was like,
Oh,
if I
it's
want
zen. No.
no,
No,
right.
there's some more zen stuff on this list that we can talk about, but I don't think it's not as complex as like City Skylines or anything like that, where you're managing at least I don't think it's going to complicated, but you're managing like traffic and population density and waste and transportation, that sort of stuff. This is a lot of like, hey, if you build these certain things in a specific spot, it'll create it'll set this entire forest on fire. And then once that forest has been set on fire, then you can build these other tier items on top of that forest. And it allows you to go down different like build trees that progressively get you further and further closer to your, I guess I shouldn't say further, I mean closer to your goal and the end run. It's just a bunch of it isn't sort of like, it seems like a puzzle game because you're given this area of like, hey, solve this, figure this out. But to me, it didn't feel like a puzzle when I got to the end, because it's like, I don't know how to fix this. I'm stuck.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So this is certainly an interesting concept. I mean, the idea of a D maker, a city unmaker or something. So yeah, like it's definitely got some legs in that department. But yeah, it did. Yeah, it does sort of seem like just a puzzle game to me.
Yep. All right, we got next is Road 96. So you played this one?
Yeah. So this was a pretty cool. Like, not what I expected, I guess. I don't know why, but I sort of expected something like Interstate 76.
Okay.
Yeah. And
how did you draw that conclusion?
There was a 6 in the name, I think, was entirely it. And
you didn't go to Fallout 76 at all?
No, I managed to dodge that. I didn't go there. I didn't go to Interstate 76 with Fallout 76 either. I don't know why. Interesting. But yeah, it's it's sort of like a hitchhiking narrative adventure. You sort of, I mean, the time I played, I started in a car and you're not driving, you're not actively driving this car. You're sort of just like activating prompts
Yeah.
on the screen. There's like a prompt to uh, talk to, or look at your dashboard, or look at the radio, or talk to the person next to you, ask them questions and stuff like that. And yeah, you sort of carry on along that way, and it's a branching narrative path. The answers you give and the questions you ask all have consequences, and it does the such and such will remember that
Yeah.
type thing. And
Yeah.
yeah, you sort of have to make your way. So the country you're in is sort of, I don't know, dystopian. It's this near fascist state that looks very similar to what I imagine America to look like. And you're trying to escape across the border, and there are people who don't want, people to, it's unpatriotic to want to leave the country, and they should be all locked up. And there's people who will try to call the cops on you if you admit that you're trying to leave, and all this kind of stuff. And so you got to navigate. There's like this element of trust and suspicion and suspense that you have to navigate as you go through the hitchhiking element. And you got to make decisions, and you can earn a bit of money, and you could catch a bus, and it's a bit safer than hitchhiking. Or you could just walk, but like that could get you pulled up and stuff. And yeah, just sort of you gotta get your way out. The demo didn't allow me to make it out, so it's not like that close. So it seemed like I got pretty close to the border, but as far as I could tell, there was no way for me to actually escape in the demo.
How many times did you play it?
Like 3 times.
Okay.
But I'd seen the same thing twice. After the third, I'm like, I don't think it's got as much, because at the end of the demo it sort of shows you like a bunch of stuff that might happen eventually, like a trailer, I guess.
Yeah.
And I wasn't seeing any of that shit, and I'm like, okay, maybe this demo is like just, well, it's a vertical slice. It's a demo, obviously, so maybe it's not going to show me any of this stuff, and I'll just come back. Like, there's no point in continuously retreading this same ground and boring myself of it before the actual game comes out. So yeah, I'm just sort of held off, waited it out.
Yeah, because that very first area of you being inside of the vehicle with another person is a bit more linear in terms of what you're able to do. There's only certain things that you can interact with, and there's a couple of choices that you can make. But then the next section is a bit more open. You're walking around, you're able to talk to different people, interact with stuff in the environment, and I think those choices could be a little bit more branching. But is that where the demo ends? Because that's where my demo ended, after that bit.
That's where it ended every time for me, yeah. So, yeah, I think it sort of leads to that. And you can, make different choices once you're there. But it's sort of always going to end at that point, regardless of the choices you make. It's just what happens to the people involved.
So what choices did you make then? I think we can talk about spoilers.
It's just a demo. So, well, I made so it seemed like if I pumped gas correctly, I was able to convince the gas station owner to not throw the guy under the bus.
Okay.
Well, to not out the guy who went and hid in his thing. He still he always called the cops.
Yeah.
But I could argue with him to not. It seemed like he was happy that I'd pumped gas correctly, or whatever the fuck. I don't know. Well, not happy, but like less of a cunt. And so he wouldn't point out that the guy went to the shed if I was like, don't say that. But the first 2 times I did it, that's what happened. I didn't know. I mean, I pumped gas correctly, but you also had to choose the right like prompts. So yeah. What'd you do?
I did the same thing, except I didn't.
Right.
I don't remember arguing with him. The cops came. So basically, there's a second teenage kid that rocks up at this gas station after the owner has said he recognizes your picture from a wanted poster. And so this is how this exchange of like, all right, I'll pump gas for you. And so you do that. This other kid rocks up. He ends up running away after the police show up. And at that point, for me, the cops found the kid. They went into the like little shed that he's in, found him, took him away, and then the other cop that's with them, which is a lady, a female cop.
She showed up at a different time.
Yeah, she ends up
gas pumped.
Yeah, she ends up saying that she'll take you in to the other police officers, and she puts you in a car, drives away, and then she lets you off down the road because she doesn't think she knows what you're up to, which is basically trying to cross the border, but she doesn't think that is a crime. So there's obviously a lot of politics in this game, looking at different people's behaviors and their beliefs and that sort of stuff. And so I only played through it once, and that's kind of where I ended up. I get let out of the car at that point.
Right. That's basically where it ends, regardless. Like once you get let out of the car, or you can go walking around and like catch a bus or hitchhike further, but you stole the car. How'd you steal the car? I never worked that out. Where were the keys?
The keys were in the shed. They were behind a locked. There was a locked case or something on like maybe it might have been in a locker. I can't remember, but you get the option to pick it or just break the lock. And I think I was like, I'll just break it. So I broke it. Picked up I think there was keys and like a ATM card. And so you can go into the gas station and actually use the ATM machine, like the ATM, and and it gives you a choice of taking out cash or whatnot. So then after I end up stealing the car.
Right.
And I guess that's the thing, right? Is that a game like this is a very small snippet of what is in the game, but also there's a bunch of different choices that you can make, and then how that leads on to the next thing is kind of how the story will unfold. Like if you end up getting arrested by the police, I guess, and taken away, you must have a different outcome or like chapter the next thing that happens. And so that's the kind of part where this is hard to talk about, because we've only seen the one very small area that you can go to, and there's obviously choices that you can make, but how those choices affect the overall story is very hard to gauge at this stage. Yeah,
it's difficult to tell how branching it's going to be, but you get the sense that there's quite a lot in it. But yeah.
Yep.
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
All right, that was
next?
Road 96. I guess we'll just keep going, right?
Totally.
What do we got here? Murder Mystery Machine. This is a detective game where you're playing a police officer with a partner who has just joined this new unit, I guess.
Yep.
And you're solving crimes. It's using very similar technique to like Sherlock Holmes, the Sherlock Holmes games, where you are looking in an area, talking to people, collecting clues, but it's done in a like isometric view. Very, very cool looking isometric view. It's like a shoebox angle where you're looking down, but the walls are removed.
Diorama.
Yeah, a diorama, and as you move the camera around to different angles, it removes part of the wall, like pulls it away, and then puts back the part of the wall that you can now see properly. And so it's a very stylistically looking game. I think it looks really cool, like a neat art style. In terms of the gameplay, it's like the Sherlock Holmes style, connecting different people to objects that you found or items that you found or like pieces of information that you've gathered from this investigation, and drawing connections between these things in order to determine what you think has happened in this crime to solve this case. And so I think it's a really neat idea, and they're definitely onto something. But from what I played, the main aspect of this game is that joining information together that you've gathered in order to open up either new dialogue options or I think it's just dialogue options for the most part, or like new pieces of information to give you an idea of what has happened. I just don't think those connections are very well explained. It's a lot of clicking on one thing, like a gun, clicking on a person to draw this connection, and then the game going, yay, all right, let's ask this person about this gun and this person, this other character in this room, and maybe they'll have some more information to go off. And so there's a lot of just like randomly clicking on things to be like, oh, I wonder if this is the thing the game is trying to tell me to do. Like, you've got all this information in my head. I'm like, oh, okay, this is who I think did it and why they did it. But the game wants you to click on something and then join that to something else in order to open a new dialogue tree. And it could be something that has nothing to do with like where your brain is at the moment. It might be like a newspaper and a person. And you're like, all right, well, why do I have to... I guess I'm clicking on that now. And so you end up with this, it's like that meme of the Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where you've got that cobweb of wire and
pet-based silver.
Yeah, and like behind him is like people's names and pictures and all that sort of stuff and that sort of thing. And that's what your page ends up looking like. And so
right.
I mean, it's really cool, the tool that they've got there. You can move all these names around, and there's ways that you can like organize things a bit clearer. And I talked about that game I played recently, the board game Detective and Modern Crime Board, and these are the sort of things that I was doing in
a modern crime board.
Oh, Modern Crime
board game?
Yeah, it's covered. I can't see it. And so, like, on a piece of paper, these are like the mind maps. You draw them out, people's names, connect the dots, and all that sort of thing. And so this is the thing the game has for you to play around with, and that is really cool. But it's very hard to get a sense of, like, how do I get to the next stage that the game wants me to get to? Like, there's a piece of information here that I need to specifically join, and I'm just missing that one little connection. And so luckily the game has a hint option. You just click it and it like highlights the squares that you're missing, and it's like, hey, maybe you should look at these two things. You're like, oh, okay, so connect that to that, and it opens up a new dialogue. I can talk to my partner now and ask him about this thing, or I can talk to the secretary and ask her about this person's relationship with this person. And so I think that is a little bit finicky, because in Sherlock Holmes, it does a pretty good job of like, you're able to connect people's names to other people or different information that you've gathered and join them together. But when you do that, it generally starts this like weird web. When you click on one thing, it'll then expand it and then give you
spiderwebs out, like it
tells you
or something.
This thing that you're clicking on has a choice, and this is the branch you're going down, and eventually, like, hey, this is all you can do here. There's nothing else to really investigate. Like, you've done what you need to, and you can be completely wrong in your decisions. And and you'll end up solving that case wrong. Like you'll just go to the next
Mm.
case. You fucked it up.
Yeah.
But at least when you're joining these things together, the game is telling you, okay, you can't do any more with this thing. That is done. But you get to the end of that level and you've made the wrong decision. Whereas this game is just like, you have no idea. It's just a bunch of like 30 pieces of information on there. And you're like, all right, well, do I just fucking join everything to, like, can I do that? And I think if you just join stuff together, it's ranking you in the background, like how many incorrect things you need to do and all that sort of stuff. And so, it seems a bit more unforgiving in that point, but also just not understanding how they got from this thing that they want me to get to
It
the
seems
next
pretty
section.
harsh to rate you on that shit too, because
Yeah.
the point of the corkboard and the string
Hmm.
is to test those
Best ideas.
connections.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to rate you on your ability to fucking nail shit first try.
Hmm.
So yeah, that seems pretty fucking rough.
Yeah. And the Sherlock Holmes game does that really well. Like you'll be 50% of the way through a investigation, right? And you've gone down this, you called it like a branch or a spider web. And then like you get to a point where you get a piece of information that completely changes what that web looks like. And all of a sudden, the person that you thought it was, you start then going backwards, working your way back up this branch, and then going down a different section. And like now it looks completely different. Your hypothesis of what is going on has changed, and all this stuff. And so, I just feel like what they've done in the Sherlock Holmes games is a lot better. I do like the idea of this being a bit maybe more hardcore, but at the same time, just very brutal in terms of it's not like I've done something wrong and it's punished me for it, but just not understanding what the game is trying to tell me that I should look at as a, here's 30 pieces of information. I feel like I've gotten 95% of this right, and there's just one connection that has just roadblocked me. And that happened a couple of times during that demo where I was just like, I don't really understand what it wants me to do, so I'll just click the hint button. It'll be like newspaper and this person. I'm like, okay, yeah, I know that was a thing, but I didn't realize I needed to connect those two. I mean, I thought that was obvious. Like I've already connected these other 4 things and they're in a little bunch. Why do I need to connect this thing to that thing now? It's just like, it just didn't make much sense. And it's kind of hard to explain without like you seeing this thing in action. Because like the things that I'm talking about are like, here's like 5 different people, right? And this one person has a letter and a movie ticket, and it's their house and all this stuff. And so you end up joining this one person to movie ticket, house, blah blah blah, and then their relationship with this other person, and you do all that sort of stuff, and you end up with this web of information, and you feel like you've got a good idea, but the game then wants you to link the newspaper to like directly to something else that's over here, even though that this stuff at the top seems like you've already linked all that stuff, if you know what I mean. And so it just makes it like you end up in this spot where I can't go any further. What do I want? What does the game actually want me to connect directly? And then that happens, you're like, oh, okay. And then you feel like
it's unsatisfying.
Yeah, because you feel like you have done what the game wants you to do, but you haven't done it the way that it like directly wants you to connect those two things. And you're like, all right, well,
it's like in school, right? I remember in school, they would you do a maths test. I remember failing a maths test.
Yeah.
Because I didn't show the correct working. I had all the correct answers. No, I didn't cheat. I'd read ahead in the book, and they went into because I was a fucking hyper dork. If that isn't clear over the last 40 fucking years of podcast, I'm a massive fucking dork. But I'd read ahead in the book, and they had some shortcut ways to do some of the shit that was on this test, and so I did those shortcut ways because they were a lot easier, and they were shortcuts. But that was not what they were testing me on. They were testing me on knowing what they taught. And so, because I showed the incorrect working but arrived at the correct answers, and that was basically like, if I were to look back on the course of my life, that was when I stopped giving a fuck at school. That was literally like, you could chart a course, and from there on out, I had been trying, and I'd put in all the effort, and then I failed this test. I'm like, well, fuck this shit, I'm done. And I became a slacker basically directly after that, and dropped out of Maths C and Maths B, and I only stayed in physics because I knew that there was a class trip to Dreamworld, and that was about it. And me and Heath we were paired, we were partnered to do this Dreamworld assignment together. And I remember 1 month, I don't know why I'm so far off on this tangent, but 1 month after we were supposed to have submitted, I remember Heath and I being called into the physics teacher's office, and she was like, "You guys, I need the paper that you did at Dreamworld." And I remember looking at Heath and then going, "Oh, we gave it to you. I don't understand. We gave it to you when everyone else did." And she was such a space case that she was like, "Oh my God, really?" And we're like, "Yeah, I don't understand." And Heath played along perfectly, and we didn't turn in shit. And she gave us, I think she gave us just a passing grade, but we didn't give a fuck. We got to go to Dreamworld and do nothing, so it worked out pretty well.
Yep.
Anyway,
and that is how
yeah.
you solve crimes in Murder
That's how
Mystery
you solve
Machine.
crimes in a diorama. No, yeah. Broadly, the point is, yeah, like when they expect a certain working, like lots of games do it, right? Like, I hate when puzzle games are like, there is only one way to solve this puzzle. Like, a very direct and immediate fucking memory for me is Half-Life Alyx, right? I was able to, using obviously not ideal teleport movement, I was able to get to a point where I could have skipped an entire section of the game. And in the older Half-Lives, that's fully fucking valid because the game is about that sort of stuff. But because this is like Half-Life Alyx is such a linear fucking version of that world, you couldn't actually skip any of that shit. And it was like, well, that kind of sucks. So so the only way for
You
me
wanted to play less game.
I wanted to play less. Well, yeah, of course I did, because the fucking combat in the game was fucking trash. It was the worst fucking combat. Well, not the worst, but some of the worst combat I've ever experienced in a VR game. So, fuck that game. Anyway.
All right, let's move on. That was Murder Mystery Machine. We'll go to Dread Templar.
Oh, yeah, okay. Dread Templar is a sort of one of those, like, you see them a lot, right? The demaked Quake style, like, shooter games. I guess New Blood does a lot of them. This is not a New Blood game, but it is in that vein.
Yep.
So yeah, like Quake, a 90s shooter running around, moving really fast through these low poly environments, but these complex maps, loads of secrets, all that kind of stuff. And there's like, it's got some conceits. You've got the ability to slow down time, but I felt like the rate at which you could do it was extremely fucking like way too long. It may have been just very early in the game, but it felt way too fucking long a time between being able to slow down time, so it didn't feel good to use. I just wound up not using it because it felt, it's one of those things where if you've got a power but you can only use it once every 5 minutes or something, it has to be unbelievably powerful, or else you just learn to cope without it, right? Like if it's like fucking, I don't know, Knights of the Round in Final Fantasy or some shit, right? And you can only cast it every now and then you're like, okay, here we fucking go. Well, yeah, I'm gonna fucking pop it, right? Because it's gonna fuck some shit up. But if all it does is slow down time a bit for like 25 seconds, and then you got to wait 5 minutes for it to come back up again, you're like, well, it doesn't really change my life in a meaningful way, so I just won't fucking bother unless the levels are specifically timed out so that you will have it back up at a time, and then there will be just such an overwhelming amount of enemies. That never happened. It was basically just a really well constructed Quake style game where they happen to add in the ability to slow down time, and so it just felt like an unnecessary addition. Anyway, outside of that, it's a cool Quake style game. It feels good to play, and yeah, you belt through these fucking levels as fast as you fucking can. You get like a real good fucking rhythm going as you're like running through, punting fucking these generic enemies that don't really like sort of just run at you, and then they slowly but surely like throw in more enemies and like add more stuff, more like puzzles for you to solve, keys for you to find, stuff like that. And yeah, it just, I don't know, wound up feeling good. My problem was it seemed to have like, I don't know if it was a bug with the demo alone or just on my computer or what, but it seemed to have this problem with fucking remembering anything that I did, because it like undid all of my I changed some of the binds and stuff. You have a dodge, which I guess is obviously not a general Quake thing, but you have the ability to sort of dodge and stuff. I changed the binding for that, and it forgot that binding. It changed my crouch button because I hate controllerless crouch. I hate it. I just hate it. C or shift in my books. Thank you very much. Alt.
I use alt. Yeah.
Get the fuck out. Like, what kind of claw ass hand do you have where you're fucking crouching with alt? What the fuck is that?
Well, I mean, what's the difference between C and alt?
About fucking, I don't know, 4 centimeters?
But look how close they are to my jump button. Like,
yeah. C is good because you can crouch jump with just a shifty fucking thumb. Like, you can crouch jump or with the thumb. Shift is good, is better in games where you don't have sprints.
Okay.
So Counter-Strike, I've always found shift jump to be a lot easier to pull off, but yeah, C jump, easy baby. Alt, weird, so weird. That's all thumb, like crouch and jump with the same fucking finger. What are you doing there? How are you crouch jumping? You gotta fucking shift your hand. Think it through. Think, Mark. Think. Anyway, so yeah, forgot all of that. It also, when I reloaded a save, forgot all the things I'd picked up. So I'd picked up like this. I'd found some secrets and found like special weapons and upgrades and ammo and all this kind of stuff. And I forgot all of that and put me on like the basic shit again. And I'm like, and that was like the first time I died while playing through it. I think I'd been playing for like 45 minutes or something. And then I died and it wiped all of that shit. Wiped all of my bindings. I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm done. I don't want to keep playing if it's going to do this to me, so I think I'm finished. But I enjoyed it up until that point, and I assume it's just, you know, a bug that occurred in the demo. It didn't seem like it was a design choice or something. So yeah, I'm not worried that it's going to be a recurring thing. So yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I will play it again when it comes out, but yeah, I did not. Like once I died, I stopped playing it immediately because of what happened. It's cool. It's definitely worth checking out if they do another demo or something like that, or when it comes out.
Yeah,
we'll revisit. Did you play it?
No, I didn't check this one out. How did you go about finding games? Like, what was your method? I was just sort of going through the most downloaded list and grabbing stuff that looked interesting.
No, I went through the categories, and first I looked for multiplayer brawlers. to try to find the next party animals or just a party animals demo.
Yep.
But after that, I just went to shooters and went and looked at shooters, and then I think I saw Road 76 at the Road 96 at the like on the top banner.
Yep.
I think it was one of their like well promoted games, and I'm like, oh, that looks cool. That looks like a shooter. Maybe like how did that get missed? And so I chucked it in, and then obviously it was not in state 76 under any circumstances. So yeah. Oh well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next up, Unpacking.
Yeah, Unpacking. What was the word you said before? Zen games.
Oh yeah.
This is a Zen game. So Power Wash Simulator, which I've talked about recently. Hard Space Shipbreaker
Simulator.
Yep. Unpacking. Yep. It's Unpacking actually an Australian-made game from a team. I think they're in Brisbane. And so this game is basically a game where you have a shoebox diorama sort of layout of a room, and you have a bunch of boxes on the floor. You need to go through and open them, and each time you open a box, it gives you an item, and you grab that item and you need to put it somewhere in this room, and the room is like you moving into a new location. And so, you know, I think it starts off with like pretty basic. It's sort of like just one room, and it's a bedroom. You open the box and there's a stuffed teddy bear, and you pick that up and you put it on the bed. And then the next thing that comes out of the box is like a clock, and you put the clock in a spot that you want it to go in this room. And the next thing that comes out of that is book, and it just keeps giving you more and more things to do, and you slowly get rid of all the boxes in this room and decorate or unpack this room and put stuff where you want it to go. And that is the game. It's very, very simple in terms of structure, but it's also very satisfying. Of like, as you go through these boxes, it gives you books, and you're like, well, where are we going to put this book? Oh, there's a bookshelf over here. Let's do that. And as you drag this item across the bookshelf, then you can rotate it and put it in a certain way. Do I want the books to be horizontal, or do you want a vertical bar sort of book? Or do you like my throwback? Or like, do you want to put the books on your table? And then it starts giving you like t-shirts or something. And where do I put the t-shirts? There's a closet here, and you open up the closet and you can put the t-shirts on the on a wooden frame, and it'll fold them neatly for you. You can put t-shirts on the on a bunch of wire coat hangers, and it'll sort of hang them from the rack. And so there's all these different areas that you can put them. But the game also seems to have locations where you can't put certain things. And so once you get through the entire box, stuff starts flashing of like, hey, this is in the wrong spot. And so there is a little bit of a game to it of like finding the right spot where these things go. Not necessarily in this exact location, but it needs to be somewhere, I guess, around here. And so there was like one of the other levels that you get. There's three rooms you're managing now. There's like a bathroom, a kitchen, and a bedroom. And there's, I don't know, 9 boxes you've got to go through. And occasionally one of the boxes, like in the bedroom, will have a toothbrush, and you're like, oh, okay, that needs to go into the bathroom. So then you flick across to the bathroom and you put the toothbrush on the sink, and then it goes there. And so or you'll get like a poster, and the poster has to go up on the wall. It's just about like you're sort of designer decorating where things go, and like also, all right, here's a bunch of dishes, and the dishes have to go in this certain spot, and pots and pans down in this drawer, and knives and forks, you want it in this specific rack over here. And yeah, it's just an organizational game, a bit of decorating, and also a bit of puzzle as well, like trying to figure out where things go. And so I think it's gonna do pretty well, because it is that one of those.
I've never hated the idea of a game more. Oh my god!
Well, let me tell you,
no. It takes me a year and a half to unpack boxes when I move fucking houses.
Well, most of the reasons, so quick.
so good. The dream. Most of the reason I don't want to move houses ever is because I don't want to have to fucking unpack anything or pack anything or move anything. There's no part of this concept that I enjoy on a fundamental level. I just can't. I cannot imagine it.
Yeah.
Good lord.
So yeah, that is Unpacking. It's like I said, an Australian game. I think it's gonna get some buzz when it comes out because it's very, very interesting. Next up is Lens Island, which is a crafting like exploration. I'm trying to
It's
think.
so sorry to move on, but it's so weird to go from Assault Android Cactus, which is that like psychedelic, like crazy as fuck shoot 'em up game, like twin stick shooter game, to a Zen unpacking game. That's so crazy to me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So yeah, Lens Island. It reminds me a bunch of like Stardew Valley sort of. You know, you're out crafting items and collecting things. You're not necessarily interacting with people. In this game, it's more like you're on this island. You can cut down trees. You can mine certain types of materials from rocks. You can then go and use those materials that you've gotten to craft specific items, but they're not. The crafting system isn't really fully in the game. Like there seems to be a building aspect to the game, creating your own foundation or houses or something like that, but I couldn't get it to craft, and apparently it said it was coming at some stage.
Okay.
But it's all there. Like there's this environment you can cut down trees and collect berries and that sort of stuff. But the other aspect is going into like a dungeon and fighting these weird creatures that you come up against, and the combat is pretty basic from what I played, in terms of you sort of just click on the thing and there's a animation that plays out, and then there's a sweet spot at the end of that animation, and if you click the button at the right time, you do a bunch more damage, and that's how you like combo hits and do a significant amount of hit points to these creatures you're finding, and then they drop items, and you keep going through this dungeon, and eventually you're getting more and more loot to I guess eventually craft things that aren't in the demo because you can't craft. I spent 20 minutes playing this. There wasn't a lot in there that I could see.
Right.
Like I feel like I got to the end of the demo because there was a room and I couldn't figure out what else to do, and so I just figured that was kind of it. I could be wrong. Maybe there wasn't anything else going on, but the other people in my list that have been playing that game also spent about 20 to 30 minutes playing. So, I mean, the animations and all that sort of stuff looks really cool. It's got a neat art style to it. It's an interesting idea. Like, it's a crafting game. I'm a big fan of those sorts of things where you're going out and trying to survive. I just don't know if it's got enough there to sort of keep you going. It just sort of seems like it's a bit shallow, because I wasn't a fan of the combat. Combat sort of seemed really one-notey, but I don't know if it gets more difficult or anything as you go. So, or like opens up a little bit. Am I just purely like clicking on things and that is it? That's the combat. Or does it open up a bit more and do I get abilities?
Sounds like Stardew Valley more. Stardew Valley doesn't have terribly complex combat, but I don't think it really impacts the game or anything. So yeah, like I guess unless combat winds up being a big part of like how you progress, it doesn't need to be too complex.
Yep. So there you go. That's Lens Island. What's next? Severed Steel.
Fucking, this was my pick for the demos. Did you play it?
No, I did not.
You fucked up. It is a Hong Kong blood opera fucking shoot slash 'em up like really fucking good feeling, like combat and movement and all that kind of stuff. Cyberpunk, like you slow down time, you fucking slide and wall run and dive and flip and all this kind of shit, and you just fucking get through these levels, trying to kill as many people as you can or finish objectives, and you can sort of like dive through windows and kick people and kick open doors, and the doors will fucking kill the people behind them and all this kind of stuff, and it's fucking cool. It played really fucking well and was a lot of fun to play. You just, yeah, it really fucking worked. Like, definitely my pick of the fucking festival. It's got like an arcade mode as well, which is pretty fucking rad because you can sort of challenge yourself to finish these levels. Like the regular single player game is sort of, complete these objectives, kill this computer or destroy these pistons or shoot everyone in the room or some shit like that. But yeah, the arcade mode sort of turns it into almost like, Hotline Miami style, that sort of murder puzzle game where you, over the course of playing through a level, you remember where everyone is. You're like, okay, so the first, I shoot this guy, I dive out this window, I shoot this guy, I slide down this stairs and shoot this guy, jump up, wall run, jump through this window, shoot these two dudes, switch guns. And yeah, you sort of, there's, like a skateboarding fucking run type thing to it, where you, like there's a real cadence and like pattern that you want to follow and hit, and you want it to look as good as possible.
Yeah.
Which is completely divorced from the single player game, but
yeah, it sounds a lot like Superhot. So I've
Superhot, yeah, sure.
I've chucked it into my download list because the demo is still up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, do it. Yeah, very cool. I very much enjoyed it.
Awesome.
Yeah, cool.
Last one we got here is 9 to 5.
Oh yeah, I chucked this in as a joke because I only played it once, and it never really. I don't know what happened, but they didn't get anyone fucking playing it. It's a 3v3v3 shooter. It doesn't appear to have any like Aussie servers, but it did have SEA servers. Not that it mattered, because as far as I can tell, based on Steam charts, only 150 people were ever playing it. So the only game I ever got was in North America. I got spawned into a game. I wasn't able to move. I was stuck in like a introductory camera.
Yeah.
And then I pressed all the buttons on my keyboard, opened up some sort of drone. And then I was able to move once I got out of the drone, sort of Rainbow Six style. My team, the team that I'd been put on mid, like sort of just matched into a team mid-game, they were tasked with escaping. And if we escaped, we won the whole thing, even though it appeared based on the scoreboard that we were extremely down. We were losing pretty hard. So after not moving at all for the entire, like almost the entire round, my teammates were dead, and then I ran over to the escape area, shot one guy who was guarding it, but by the time I got there, everyone, like the other two teams, had been fighting it out, and my teammates had been shooting it out, and I had been doing nothing, and so everyone else was pretty damaged, and so I just sort of wandered in and shot this dude, and then escaped, and that was it, and I was like, oh, cool, and then I couldn't get another game. Like 20 minutes of waiting, and like at other times 10 minutes of waiting. And I was just sort of doing other things on my computer, obviously, while I was waiting to try and find some games, but it just never fucking happened. And so, yeah, not good.
I think I'm in the beta for that.
Yeah, theoretically I am too, but
but no one's played it. yeah, I just everything like it sounded interesting, but everything I've seen from that game just kind of uh like why would you want to play this game over the stuff that the other things that are out there? It just seems
Yeah,
very niche. I don't
it's
know.
an interesting idea,
Yeah,
and I think it's got some potential. But yeah, I don't know what's going on. Like multiplayer games need players, and yeah, they just haven't got people playing for some
yeah,
reason. They really needed to get more people playing, and without Aussie servers, it's basically pointless. So
yep,
fork it.
yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Well, there you go. That was the Steam Next Festival. There's a couple of games that I'll definitely keep an eye out for. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's a cool idea. Highlighting a bunch of awesome games that are coming up. So,
Yep.
all right, let's keep moving on here. What do we got? Dead by Daylight. You've been playing this, right? Or tried
I
to play
sure
it?
have.
Can't remember.
No, I've been playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, I played a couple of games as the Tyrant or no Nemesis, and didn't really like him. I don't know, just sort of played like a shitty version of Pyramid Head. So I'm like, all right, cool. Uh, and then I went back to Pyramid Head,
Okay.
and I've been playing as Pyramid Head,
Yeah.
and Pyramid Head continues to be fucking hilarious
Yeah.
because people do not understand that his big fucking swipe through the ground goes for quite some distance.
Mm.
And if you can predict where people are going to fucking go, you can fucking catch them out. And it is hilarious the way, like, I mean, yeah. I put up a video on my YouTube of a crew that clearly hadn't faced off against the executioner before, like
Mm.
very obviously, because they would drop a pallet and then just stand there waiting to see which direction I was going to run around the pallet so that they could
Yeah.
go the other way, and then I just drop the fucking blade into the ground and fucking swipe through them, and then blip, down they'd go. They got fucking crammed so fucking hard that I
Mm.
wound up like dropping one of them at the hatch because I felt bad in my core. Um, like I'd literally just been fucking with these bambinos the entire fucking game, and it was just like, yeah, one of them deserves to get out. This is ridiculous. They were. I feel like it was pretty obvious they were surviving with friends as well. Like they were together.
Mm.
The way they were moving and stuff, but yeah, they just had no idea.
I wish it
Um,
told you, honestly, if you're in a team or if you're playing against another team. Sometimes you can tell. Um,
yeah,
like if you join a game and you've got like four PC players, you're like, yeah, this is probably and they're all sort of similar dress and that sort of thing. You can sort of tell sometimes, but as a killer, I would like to know how sweaty things are going to get, like when I'm about to play a match. Or
yeah,
I guess
yeah,
that's the new MMR system will do that for me anyway. But
yeah.
I don't know why the game doesn't tell you that anyway. Like if they're in a group or not. That way you can at least know, or at least when you finish the
I think
game,
it
tell you.
changes. I think it changes how you how you approach a
Yeah,
game, right? Like, yeah, like if you're up against a team, you know they've got a degree of communication that just isn't possible.
Hmm.
And it is weird that it wouldn't inform you. Because yeah, I think that's important information. For the killer, it doesn't do anything to change the odds. It just mildly modifies how you approach things, right? Like, oh well, you know, I may as well. I mean, yeah, almost to the point where you might even take different perks. I probably wouldn't because I don't care that much, but like you might if you're actively hunting down being
hmm.
rank one killer or whatever. If that shit was important to you, then you would probably take different perks, right? I run around with whatever the perk is, where if I kick a
Dragon's
generator,
Grip.
uh no, the one where I kick a generator and I'm I make no heartbeat
Oh,
for the
okay. Yeah, yeah.
next fucking ages. It lasts forever. It's fucking
Well,
amazing.
it lasts forever. So what happens is you kick it, it highlights that generator into yellow, and so all the
Yeah.
other survivors can see that generator. They need
Yeah.
to go touch the generator, and if they don't, you stay undetectable until someone touches it.
Right.
So you can actually toy around with that and stick like dragon's grip on it, which means that if you kick a generator, it sets someone to exposed for I think it's 60 seconds. So anyone that touches it within the next 30 seconds gets exposed, but also you're all undetectable. So it forces someone to touch it, I guess. You can do weird things like that.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, see, I'm not doing anything like that. I just do it because it fucking cracks me up when I then like loop around and come back and I just like drag and then like from how like fucking ages away, I just swoop the fucking generator because I know that they'll run back to it and start working on it. And yeah, clap, free hits, usually a couple. My best is 3. Obviously, you can't get more than 3 because generators are always up against something. You can get more than 3 away from a generator, but yeah,
if they're all standing in a line somewhere.
Yeah.
Or healing. Really 3 people are healing 1 person.
True. But yeah. So just rolling back and you probably wouldn't take that perk if you knew they were surviving with friends, right?
Yeah.
Or unless you were like deliberately comboing, or, like you had some fucking build or whatever. But the way I don't have a build, I just have perks that I think make things fun as a killer and make things scary for survivors. Because I continue to play the game as someone attempting to be as spooky as a killer as humanly possible.
Yeah. You've got to go the Michael Myers like cracked mirror sort of approach.
Yeah, that that is still one of the all-time greatest fucking spooky killer plays. But yeah, people like you could see people freaking the fuck out when you hit them through walls and shit. Like if they like the amount of people will just like belt into into the killer shack, and that is like when the basement hooks under the killer shack, it's free. Like they will run in there thinking, oh yeah, he's still outside, and then I'll just like bang down they go. Because they can't see me. Like they can't see me, and I can only see them through the fucking gaps. They can hear, I assume, the sound. I don't think it gets muted by the walls.
They actually get a notification on the ground where it's going to be.
They can see where it's going to be. That explains why some people like I'm rank 15 killer. Not a great killer. My philosophy of letting people escape instead of absolutely always 4King when I probably almost always could has been pretty good at not ranking me up as fast as possible. But I have been getting a lot of games against like 6s and 5s.
Yeah.
And they are pretty good at dodging the old. But I had no idea they could. Yeah, that's all right. That's interesting. I didn't know.
It's only when you use it, it pops up on the ground. Like for an initial second, you can see that red where it's going to be. But they have to. You got to be quick to get out of it, like dead hard or something like that. But
that's very cool.
You learn these. That's the thing about playing this game. If you play it, that's why I play Survivor a lot now. I obviously play Killer a lot more, but you learn things by playing Survivor. Because I didn't know that thing until recently, when I was like, oh shit, all right, you can actually see that thing. All right, fair enough.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah. Did you play any Survivor? Any Leon or Claire?
No.
Jill?
No. Never. Not going to do
Chris
it.
Redfield?
I do. You know what I'm going to do? I was talking about this with Nate, right? Because we have been playing, actually, this is on the list, but I should add it. We've been playing Dying Light, and I was waiting for him to jump on, and I jumped into a game of DBD.
Yeah.
And he sort of jumped in, was watching while I was playing, using Discord stream, and we were talking like he and I are both the same. Absolutely zero interest in playing as a survivor unless we have everyone in the server known to us. Not just like a 4-stack survival with friends, but I want to know the killer as well, and we just sort of rotate through who kills, who's the killer, and who's surviving, and that sort of stuff. That I would play survivor as that, but I don't have any interest in playing survivor with randoms or against randoms or anything like that.
They got custom modes, custom matches where you can put like different toggles on and all that sort of stuff, which is cool.
Yeah. We should investigate doing that.
Yeah.
At some point. But anyway, still haven't managed to play the new map. I don't think it's back in yet, which is a shame.
It's sort of in. They re-enabled it for custom matches, and there's some sort of weird bug where if you are lucky enough to win the lotto, you get the map. I think your lotto odds are better than getting this map at this stage.
It's annoying. That's annoying.
I think it's the they fucked up, but it's also I think the reason why it's taking longer is because of the cert on consoles. It's like 3 weeks.
Oh yeah, because it's crossplay and whatnot. The other thing is I have been playing against a lot of Leons and not a lot of. It's Jill, right? It's Jill Valentine, whatever.
It's got I mean the main character is Leon and Jill, but they've got skins for Chris and Claire and all that sort of thing in there as well.
Been playing against a lot of Leons, but or Chris's or whatever. But yeah, not a lot of Jills. And I've noticed the higher the rank, the more they love to hit me with the flashbang. And if I've already got the fucking blade in the ground, I do not give a fuck. I'm still going to throw it out there. And I've hit a number of people with it. Completely fucking blind because it doesn't seem to stun. I thought it would stun, but it's just blind.
It blinds and deafens you.
Deafens, yeah, true. But yeah, if I already got the fucking blade in the ground, I do not give a fuck. If I don't have the blade in the ground, the wind up time on the blade strike and then throw is too much. But if it's already down, fuck it. And I also, I had like some fucking sweaty spaghetti rank 5 try to, I don't know, AFK me to death or something. He was the last one alive. I bumped everyone. There's still 3 generators left.
Yeah.
He was the last one. They were all, they just I don't know what the fuck was that. Maybe they were fucking about. There's all this like culture that I do not understand. Like all these things people are doing, like they were like standing in front of me and like running just a little bit forward and like, I don't know, baiting me to fucking hit them.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, if that's what you want, like, are we supposed to be doing something? Am I supposed to chase you for ages to ratchet up my chase metrics or something? Like, I just don't understand any of these things they're trying to do because I just played the way I think I'm supposed to play. But I assume that they're all sitting in a Discord channel together going, oh, this fucking dipshit won't even fucking farm or whatever. I don't fucking know. Chop, right? And then hook, or what's the one where they stab you when you pick them up?
Decisive strike.
Decisive strike. Yeah, they've always all got that. And so you pick them up and they stab you and they run away and I'm like...
You're tunneling.
I don't give a fuck. I'm not, right? That's the thing. Like, I'm not, like, there were 3 fucking Jennies still left up, right? Like, if I was tunneling, then they would have done any of the fucking generators. But at this point, not 3 generators. They had, like, 3 generators left. So there must have been, like, 5 generators left or some shit. And, like, only one of them had any progress. They just... I don't know, we're kind of garbage. I don't know what was going on. Like, that's why I'm like, there must have been something. They must have been doing something, right? That I didn't understand. There must be some cultural elements in Dead by Daylight that, like, some fucking meme thing that people do if you're on the game too much and you know all these tricks and shit that I've just got no idea about because I'm like, all right, chop, or cage, right? Like, oh yeah, the amount of times they'll be like, oh yeah, like wiggling on the ground, waiting for me, and I know they're just gonna decisive strike, but I've got the cage of atonement, so that it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
Welcome to the cage, dickhead. Like ridiculous.
Yeah.
I still don't understand the cage very well either. Like, I know if I walk right in front of it,
Mm.
it'll move, right? I believe it goes somewhere else. I don't know. Does it make it easier to
Does it go somewhere
get
else?
out of? Yeah, for sure. So you cannot camp the cage.
Oh, I didn't know this. I've never, I've never gone to the cage.
It's quite simple. Just
I'm
don't walk on
not
the
a tunneler
fucking.
like you, Job.
Don't walk on the
I've never been
fucking.
DS'd in my life.
Hang on, how is being DS'd a tunnely thing?
Because
Do you have to
basically,
like?
the way decisive strike works is the moment they get taken off the hook, they get a 60-second timer, and if you knock them down again and pick them up within 60
Right.
seconds, you get the decisive strike and stunned for 5 seconds. It's to stop tunneling. But the alternative is if they start doing an objective, like a generator or healing themselves or healing someone else, they lose that decisive strike.
Right. So maybe they were just like dicking about with that because they weren't doing any objectives. They were all clustered way too close together. So I like chop someone, like get the person who got him off the hook, right? And they get that speed burst, and the dipshit who just gotten off the hook was running slowly for whatever reason, and also at half health. So I'd chop him down, and then like wander after the other person, come back to pick him up and put him back on the hook, and then stab. I'm like, all right, cool, you back up, excellent.
Yep.
Chop him again. It doesn't fucking matter. Like, I don't know. Very confusing. I don't understand. Yeah, this movement thing.
Have you got a
but
list
most
of
like
things?
all of the times. Yeah, like I'm playing this game at such a low level, but I'm having a lot
all right,
of fun.
here's one. Do you see the guys that have a flashlight and they click on the ground? Do you see that a lot?
Yeah, I've definitely seen that. Yeah.
Okay. That's like they're basically animation canceling, and it allows them to move in like a loop quicker. So they're trying to. So if you're trying to move, like spin around in a circle, you can do this clicking thing. It'll cancel your animation. It'll make you spin around quicker. That's what they're doing. They're not trying to bait you or anything like that.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes it works on people. Other times it doesn't.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah, there's just weird, quirky things that the game has that
right.
have been left in there, and like weird community things that just people know at this stage that you just kind of do.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay. Well, fair enough. I did not know. Yeah. Anyway, still having fun. Yeah, just sort of jump in for a round.
Yep.
Waiting for other things to go, although I've got a replacement for that now. So
yeah, I finished the, I don't know what they call it, season pass on that thing.
Oh yeah.
Battle pass. Yeah, I got to the end of that. It's the first time I've ever gotten to the end of that.
Right.
So yeah, that was fun. A lot of grinding.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Quite a bunch. All right, let's move on. What else we got here? Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This game, what a train wreck. Yeah. Oh my lord, it's bad. Like proper bad. I'm surprised it came out in the state that it did. First of all, did you play Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance or Dark Alliance 2?
No.
These games were like Black Isle. The guys who made Fallout made these like well, I know they made 2. I don't know if they made 1, but like 2 was definitely better in my opinion than 1. by a long way. Like Black Isle made the second game. I'm looking now. They made the first one as well. Like, what a fucking legacy to this fucking. Did they make the first one? Fucking no, that was BioWare. That was like the first game BioWare made. What am I talking about? Anyway, like, fucking amazing games. Baldur's Gate 2 was better. I played it in couch co-op. It was a fucking RPG that you played with your friends and had like crazy couch co-op action with all these quests and secrets and what was there, like a fucking murder mystery you'd solve and like all this shit. It was a fucking amazingly deep. They were both amazingly deep, but yeah, two honestly better. These amazingly deep games that just had so much to them. They were proper CRPGs with action RPG elements, couch co-op, fucking the whole fucking bit. Like, brilliant fucking games. Absolutely, unbelievably addictive. I have spectacularly fond memories of Baldur's Gate. Playing Baldur's Gate after school.
Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dark Alliance, not Baldur's Gate, the general, right?
Yep.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's why I'm surprised that BioWare made Baldur's Gate, because they made the full CRPG, not the action RPG. Yep. Anyway, so who made the action RPG? Snowblind and Black Isle. Anyway, yep. So yeah, Baldur's Gate, yeah, Dark Alliance 2. Again, yeah, these crazy fucking deep, like, gameplay and storytelling and all this kind of shit. And yeah, it was just fucking phenomenal. Like, what a game. And Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance is a 4-person co-op loot chaser. And that's about it, with a story that doesn't matter. And you go into a level and you fight a bunch of stuff and you get some loot. And that is the end of it.
Yeah.
Like, gone is all that depth and all that fucking storytelling and all that kind of stuff. And instead, you're just sort of left with this very simplistic,
linear running room from room.
Very things. Linear. Yeah, like, and that's disappointing on a fundamental level. But it doesn't even touch on the fact that Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance is bad. Like, it's really poorly put together. The level design and like the graphics are nice and all that kind of stuff, but the gameplay is so fucking buggy and so full of just ridiculous shit that shouldn't be happening. The amount of times you get hit by enemies that are facing away from you and are actively attacking, like, we're not dummies. We're like on opposite sides of these characters, and they're not doing AoE attacks. They're like, they'll attack. They'd attack Luke, and I'd be behind the guy chopping him, and it would hit me. And my character was designed around backstab attacks. But it meant that I couldn't fucking, like, reliably pull this shit off, because, like, I do these backstab attacks, somehow get hit by an attack not at me, and then, like, and I'm telling you, these aren't area of effects. I'm not just getting clapped by a red circle that spreads out on the ground and I'm not dodging away enough. Although dodging away enough was a giant fucking problem in this game for some fucking reason, because the distance of my guy's dodge varied pretty significantly based on how much stamina I had or something. Which, again, why? But yeah, the amount of times, yeah, you'd be standing behind wailing on some cunt, and like there was no way to cancel animations. So you had to like you were supposed to be inputting combos to do these attacks, but if you like hammered the fucking attack button a couple of times, it would continue until you had done that fifth attack, even if all you meant to do was like two attacks. And then the enemy turned on you and you stole threat or something, and it would start attacking. You couldn't fucking cancel that animation. You just sort of be locked in attacking. The best version of this is when you're like attacking someone on the edge of a fucking cliff, right? And they would die, and so suddenly their body wasn't a target anymore. The enemy couldn't fall off cliffs. We tried a lot to make enemies fall off cliffs. They could not. They had like an invisible wall that they would come up against, and even if they'd fall backwards, they'd slide alongside the cliff. But if they fell and died and like ragdolled, you being locked into your animations would continue to attack, and because you've got forward momentum when you attack, you just attack your way off a fucking cliff, and there was nothing you could do about it, which is just what a fucking mechanic. What else was there? There was my favorite was when you dropped a heal on an elevator and it stayed in midair. And so we didn't get any of the heals because it was stuck halfway up the fucking elevator. That was fantastic.
We were in an elevator, and when the elevator got to the top, I ended up inside of the map and was running around in the walls. You guys didn't see this, but that happened. Like it shot me into the sky, and then all of a sudden, I was in the walls of the building we were in. So
I got thrown by some explosion that apparently never happened, all the way up into the sky and into the map. What else was there? The fucking elevator shenanigans were probably my favorite fucking thing in the entire game. Yeah, like we almost all of the fun we had was fucking about on elevators and like fucking with each other on elevators. You'd be like calling it up. Like someone would be at the bottom of the elevator and Luke could like call it up from the top, and so they'd never be able to get onto the fucking elevator. And then by the time like when it got to the top, you'd call it again and it would send it back down again. So like me and Nate are standing on this fucking elevator and Drew's at the bottom of it, unable to get on. And we're unable to get off it. And it's just like fucking bouncing up and down so constantly. Yeah, it's like instant.
Good on you for making a fast elevator, but it's too fast for anyone to get on or off.
It was hilarious. Unintentionally hilarious.
Sea of Thieves fixed that problem easily.
The best solution that I've ever seen in my life is the world's, like, forget Mass Effect for slow elevators. Sea of Thieves' new elevator. Easily the slowest thing I've ever fucking witnessed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got like, it's focused on like gearing up, but you're gearing up so that you can do harder levels. And hey,
I mean, it gives you gear. It's a loot game where you collect gear and you can't use it until you finish the level.
Until you finish the level, yeah. So you can't equip anything until you finish the level, so you're sort of stuck with whatever you got. All the gear that I got was trash anyway, so it didn't fucking matter. Like, yeah, it just odd. It doesn't explain shit very well at all. Although we did belt straight into the game thinking we'd be able to work shit out. We're just dying to snow at one point for reasons we couldn't fucking work out.
Yeah. All right. I think we died in that spot like 7 times. We were like, all right, let's not go to that part.
Maybe we shouldn't go there. And then I went there again.
Yeah, we figured it out eventually.
The like balancing act of resting or upgrading the chance of better loot is just nonsensical to me. Like, it doesn't make any, like, why bother with either? Like, really, it just doesn't. Yeah, it didn't really click for me. What else? Like I don't know, just the numerous. It's so buggy. It
It's,
is.
yeah, it's I think janky as well. Like the animations are really, they're not smooth. You kind of move around really strangely. I
Yeah.
I was having issues with my character. I played the I guess a ranger or maybe you want to call it like an archer. And I remapped my button so my right click was aim as opposed to alt, which was the default. Originally, left click was like shoot, and the right click was shoot 3 arrows at once. And so I changed it so that right click was aim, and then alt was shoot 3 arrows, left click was shoot 1 arrow. And when I did that, the game kept bugging out on me, and every like third arrow that I shot, my aim would stop aiming, and then so it'd like zoom in and out all the time. So I'd be in the middle of aiming and shooting, and then it'd cancel it, and I'd have to go click it again to aim. And so I actually had to go back and change it to alt, and hold that button down instead. And that was a problem. That was
And
super
you're like,
buggy.
how can I crouch?
Yeah, crouching wasn't working anymore. So yeah, all the animations and stuff are just buggy and janky, and
The fucking like the zooming thing reminds me of like when you target lock and like the fucking game it'll zoom in for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
And so suddenly your peripheral vision is like for piss. Which isn't helpful when you're a rogue character trying to backstab cunts, but like yeah, you're just like, all right, cool. I guess so I wound up not using the lock. It also didn't work. It didn't fucking matter if you locked on a target at all. You'd lock on a target and then just fucking flail away maniacally at fucking the air anyway. So I didn't it was pointless. So you just wound up not using lock because all it did was zoom things in annoyingly. Yeah, that shit's so fucked.
Yeah.
Did you I don't know if it would have worked for you, but I got to a point where I found that basically every enemy could get stun locked to death by me jumping and attacking. Did you get in on any of that action, or were you too busy fighting other enemies?
No, so you can level up your character for combos, and that's how you, I guess, do a bunch of these moves. And at that stage, I hadn't unlocked anything, so because I was the ranger, I just sort of stood back and fired arrows at everything because I couldn't really take damage. I died pretty quick, so whenever I was kind of just focusing on whoever was hitting someone from our either DPS or tanks, and then I'd join in on the fun and just stand back.
Steal kills.
Which is why
That's what you were doing.
Kills most of the time.
Most kills, not most damage. Not most damage.
No.
Okay, I went back and looked. Okay, I recorded that shit.
Because every third shot stopped for me, and so I times my damage by 3 and went back up there
excuses. Of course. Yeah. Every third shot. Blah, 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 blah. Let's just. I'm just gonna bring up the fucking stats real quick. Here we go. Defeated monsters. Luke had 44 to my 43, so really wallops me on that one. Defeated elite monsters. Luke had 4 to my 19. So half of everything I defeated was an elite monster, but don't worry about it. It's fine.
Because I was healing you guys the entire time.
Damage dealt. Luke had 89,000, and I had 192,000. I had more than 100,000 more damage dealt than you. I had more than you and Drew combined.
Yeah, but I was a support character. You're supposed to have more damage.
Whatever. You were stealing kills, okay? Damage received, I had 7,429, more than our dwarf tank. Although he was downed more. He was down 10 times. You were down once. And I was down 9 times.
I think I was downed because you guys were fucking pushing me off cliffs and things like that.
Yeah, maybe. You had it coming. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, literally any fun we had with this game was fun we made ourselves.
Yeah.
Fun we had in the sense that you have fun watching anything Nick Cage has put out in the last 10 years that isn't Mandy. Like, fun you have ripping on bad movies. That was identical fucking fun to what we had in this game. It just did not work on any level. There was I don't understand why they made this sort of game for this like license for this franchise. It just doesn't fit to me. I guess I see the connection.
Yeah.
But it was never, like, in my opinion, it was never going to fucking work.
Oh, it was going to be a fine game. Probably fine, average.
Yeah.
But it's state at the moment, it's not. It's bad game. Like, it's broken.
Yeah, exactly. Just odd. Just an odd decision.
Like, there are instances where we were, like, cheesing enemies because we were too far away from them to aggro, and so they would just stand there. And you could aggro them, they start walking towards you and then slowly walk back. And you're like, all right, well, I'm an archer. I can literally stand here and just fire arrows at you forever.
Yeah.
I think it's not good. It's not a good game.
No. Not a good game.
Okay, should we move on? From this, we've got Dying Light.
Dying Light. I've been playing this with Nate in co-op, like exclusively in co-op. I had to play through the fucking dumb tutorial. It's an interesting one, eh? Like back in the day, I believe I have the lowest score in the world on Metacritic for Dying Light. It crashed and wiped my save.
Is this Dying Light 2 or Dying Light?
Dying Light 1.
Oh yeah, Dying Light 2's not out yet. Never mind. I was thinking of Dead Island.
Right. So it crashed multiple times and it wiped my save twice while I was reviewing it. And so I stand by the fact that, I stand by my fucking score because no game should fucking do that. And like, that's completely unacceptable. But, I think as a result, it gave me a very bad taste, and I think enough time has fortunately passed for me to wipe that from my mind. And so you wind up in a situation where I've wound up in a situation where, also thanks to the inevitable march of time, a lot of upgrades and changes have been made to the game to make it, make sure that it's never going to wipe my save and stuff like that. So I don't have that worry anymore, which I think is important for getting me to fucking play the game. But yeah, so we're just playing through Dying Light. Nate, I think it might be like one of Nate's favorite games. He champions this game a lot. Managed to convince me to get into it. It's ludicrously still like $50 on Steam. But Nate found a cheap version on a key reseller. I don't know which one. Not GMG, the usual one we go to, but also not that trash one that nobody should go to.
GTA. The G2A.
G2A, yeah. Do not go to G2A. Fuck G2A. All my homies hate G2A. But yeah, it's it's cool. Like it's a lot of fun. I feel like this is giving me strong memories of having to replay the fucking starting hours of this game multiple times, because I was doing it for review, and I was doing it for review for a magazine, PC Power Play, and one of the things about reviewing for mags that you might not realize is either you've got way too much time because the deadline is next month's mag, and so you can take as much time as you like, which was one of the benefits of the magazine era, right? They were always able to, not as much time as you like, but you could take a bit more time because you didn't have a release date deadline, right? Like, you didn't have to hit an embargo like you do on a website. So you get a game, and then 2 days later the embargo's up, and you're like, well, I have to play this fucking 80-hour game inside of 48 hours. So I guess something's got to give. With magazines, yeah, that time pressure didn't necessarily exist. But yeah, either you'd have loads of lead time or you would not, because they'd be like, oh, we need 2 extra pages, so we need that review for this fucking month. So we need it like by the start of next week.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd be like, when are you going to print? And they'd be like, Tuesday morning. And you'd like, okay, well, I'll have it to you by Tuesday morning because this game wiped my save again. And they're like, get it done. So yeah, I played through the fucking start of that game like 3 times for the review period, and now one more time for this co-op play session. And one of the things that I got mad fucking reminiscent of is how fucking slow it starts shit out at the start. Like, it takes so long for you to feel the appropriate level of power, which is annoying to me. I feel like it should be a lot. I don't know. It should just get you feeling like a fucking free running god a lot faster, in my opinion. Because you start off barely able to fucking do anything, and it's not for ages. Like, yeah, you don't get the grappling hook for fucking yonks. We still don't have it in our game, and yeah, they should do something about that. They should absolutely do something about that. But Dying Light 2, I really hope they streamline that shit and ramp up the path to power. Because that's the fun. The fun of Dying Light is when you are fucking leaping everywhere. And yeah, like all that other shit is just sort of cool. Yeah, not like the grappling hook isn't the fun of Dying Light, but like when you're running on zombie heads, that shit's fucking rad. And we only just unlocked that pretty recently. Just need to get that quicker. Anyway, I'm having a lot of fun. It's certainly a better game in co-op because you have the opportunity. Like, it does these dynamic challenges. I don't know how long it's done these for, but like you can you press H, which is annoyingly the same button as you use your health kit, but you press H and it'll just sort of start a challenge. It'll be like, kill the most zombies or race to this location or something like that. And it does that really dynamic. Yep. It's fucking rad. It's a really cool fucking system, and I think it works really well. And it sort of just encourages you to find ways to fuck about. And yeah, there's a large degree of fucking with your co-op partner and stuff like that, which always sort of works in co-op games. But yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot, and it's getting me well on board. Dying Light 2 is one of my most anticipated games for this year, so this is heating up my anticipation even further now that I've gotten to the good part.
Yeah.
So yeah,
4-player co-op as well. So
yeah. So once you get through the tutorial, you should jump in. Easy.
Oh no, I meant Dying Light 2.
Dying Light 1 has
4-player
co-op. Yeah. But yeah, anyway. All right,
cool.
We'll play.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I've got 40 hours in that game. I remember playing a bunch of the I don't remember what it was called, but like they had DLC and expansions for it that played a little bit of with Nate. So I don't think I've finished it though.
Yeah.
All right, keep moving on. We've got Ratchet and Clank.
Oh yeah, so I've been playing this. Fuck, it's gorgeous. What a fucking pretty game. Just really good looking. I love the fucking warp tether shit. I love all that. Just nice platforming. I feel like the enemies have too much fucking health because I sit there sometimes shooting shit for too long. Long enough that it becomes vaguely uninteresting because they're not that challenge. They're not providing much challenge. So I'm just sort of standing there holding the fucking. So that's a bit annoying. It's too easy. But ironically, I wish they had less health because it's easy enough that the health actually just makes it easier and a little bit tedious. Which, yeah, like on the face of it, right? If you were to say I need the enemies to have less health, you'd be like, wait, you want this super easy game to be easier? But it's literally just about, well, they provide literally zero challenge, so can I just fucking snap through this combat instead?
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, so there's that. But other than that, like I'm not that deep. I'm still I found out about the map like partway through I just got the dash ability. And went down the rail, and like I did, the fight at the spa and stuff like that. And I found out about the map, and now I'm trying to find this. There's this like fucking gold bolt that I haven't been able to get, and I can't work out where to get it, and it's driving me fucking bananas. And that's where I'm up to in the game, is trying to find this one gold bolt. So I don't know if you come back to levels or not, but I've got to find it. I found another gold bolt on the first
there's
level.
stuff you can go back to.
Right. I found another gold bolt on that first level, and I believe I got there in the incorrect way, because I sort of just jumped out of the level, and then I saw like a one of those warp tethers, and I just sort of walked to it. And then when I was going back, I'm like, I don't know how the fuck I'm supposed to get back, but it turns out I just like skipped a bunch of the level by doing it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm liking it. I mean, I thought it was harsh last week when you said it was the worst game on PlayStation 5, but that's your opinion, man. Like, I still believe you were being a bit harsh saying that, but I'm enjoying it so far.
I said it was like a 7.5. I don't agree with the 9s it's getting. I did finish it, though. I finished it this week. I was very close to the end. I was, 2 levels off, but yeah, it wraps up really well. It's a fun game, very fun game.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'll continue to play it. I'm going to move it out to. I've had my PlayStation and Xbox in my office for ages, and occasionally I'll move one of them out to the TV. I'm going to move the PlayStation out to the TV for this, because my TV has 2.1. I don't think it matters, but yeah, I think it'll look gorgeous on a big TV. So
yeah, HDR.
Yep.
60 with ray tracing. All that
60 ray tracing. Yep.
Yeah. Are you playing a 30 or performance mode?
I'm playing performance RT.
Yeah.
Because my monitor doesn't do 4K, so I'm like, may as well.
Yeah.
May as well.
Cool. Next up, we have Roguebook, which is a game we talked about at the start of this year. Is a roguelike deck builder from creators of Feria. I've never played that game. But also Richard Garfield, the creator of Magic the Gathering, who has slapped his name on a bunch of games recently. In particular, I guess the last big one would have been like Dota, the Dota card game, which is no longer around.
Is now an artifact of a different time.
Artifact is no longer around. And so this one is a roguelike deck builder where you start off with 2 heroes. Each hero has different abilities and a different set of cards that they're able to use. And you walk around this map, which it's an actual map, where you uncover like a fog of war by painting in areas of this map and discovering what lies beneath the fog of war. And you use that with your you do that by using your paintbrush, and you've got a certain amount of times that you can do this. And as you go through and uncover more area of this world, you find resources and battles that you can fight, or more ink to put on your paintbrush to discover more of the region. And once you have basically exhausted all of that paintbrush, you're able to go to the final battle in the level, the chapter, and take on the boss and try and defeat it. Overall, like the concept of it, I really dig it. It's really interesting, this idea of having this world that you get a point A to point B, which leads you from the start of the game to directly to the boss, and you can go and explore it from there, and like paint in things around you, and it's all like a hexagons shaped, this like grid based world that you can walk around in, and as you uncover more of it, you can then explore a little bit more and find ways to add to your cards, or find new artifacts or gems to socket into your cards, or more battles that you can get into, which will give you more paint to explore a little bit more. It's a really neat idea in order to like explore this place. And so once you then get into the card-based combat, it's pretty simple in terms of its mechanics. You're given mana, and you use that mana to play your cards. As I said, each hero has different cards that they're given, and so you're given the option to do things like attack your opponents or block your incoming attacks. And as you eliminate enemies, you're getting more powerful because you're getting more cards or more gems or more things to further you into the game. And the way the roguelite sort of aspect works as well, you're uncovering these pages in the world, and the more pages that you get, the more unlocks you're able to find. And some of them are really interesting. Some of them are very basic. They're like, hey, this hero gets 4 more hit points, and you spend two pages to level up that hero. Now it's got more hit points. Or it'll be like, spend 5 pages and the rarity of your cards will be increased by 3% when you come across them. But then there are other stuff in the world that you can find, and it'll be like, hey, use these pages to unlock this well, and that will now be something you can find out in the world, and every time you uncover that, you'll get 1 more mana per turn, and then you can level that up a second time. And it's like, hey, now there's multiple of those wells in the world, and you can go out and find them. There's like more of a chance to be able to get more mana, and these are things that are in this map that you're sort of unlocking, and it allows you to discover a bit more as you go on throughout your journey of rinse and repeat of dying and starting again and trying to learn how these cards work, and exploring and trying to find these unlocks. And so I think that part of it is really interesting. Overall, like I'm enjoying the game. I've played like 7 or 8 hours so far. I think it's got a couple of issues in terms of balance. My biggest problem is I don't like the way that the blocking mechanics work in this game. It feels like I'm getting slapped quite a lot in terms of the enemies that I'm facing up against. So you'll go up against a team, and there might be 4 enemies in this one battle, and 3 of them are attacking and 1 is defending, something like that. It like kind of tells you what they're going to be doing that turn or next turn, like to give you a bit of an idea of what you're sort of facing up against. But it also doesn't tell you what is like if they're attacking. It won't say, hey, next turn they're going to do 20 damage or something like that. It's kind of just tells you they're going to attack or they're going to defend or they're going to buff themselves. And so when the time comes for, all right, now this thing is attacking you, so like a lot of the time I found that they will wallop you, these guys. They will just go in and hit you for a lot of damage. For instance, like one of the very first characters that you find has like 40 health. And I've had fights where an enemy I come up against will be doing more damage than 40 hit points. And it's like, because it's a CCG, or it's a deck building game, there is RNG to it, right? And if I do not have enough block, that character is going to die in 1 hit. And it happens quite a lot in terms of you just eating a lot of damage. This thing does 4 damage times 3 because it hits you 3 times, and there's also like 4 other things fighting you at the same time. And so, all right, well, I guess I'm going to try and block this round as much as possible, but I only got 1 block card and I can block for 6, and that is it. And so other times you might be able to, you might block good. You've got 20 block points and you'll be fine. You'll get away with everything that you do there. But it just seems to rely a lot on. Sometimes you just get so much damage, and you think you're doing, well, but all of a sudden there's just nothing for you to counter what they're about to throw at you. You look at a game like Monster Train, right? And the thing about Monster Train is when you were doing your block, when you were building up your armor, that persisted through. It generally persisted through like most of the time, unless you were taking damage, right? Whereas this game, because it is a turn-based deck building game, whenever you block, it is just for that turn, and so you're building up 20 defense on your block, and then next round you might not have those cards anymore. They've gone into your discard pile, and maybe you've got all attack cards now, but this other thing is still going to do 25 damage to you, and so you find yourself in this weird spot where sometimes you are just destroying things that you're coming up against, and other times you just find yourself blocking the entire time and still eating a bunch of shit, and it's hard to balance for that.
It's hard for me to tell, right? Because I haven't played it.
Yeah.
But it sounds like Slay the Spire.
Yeah.
Right? Because you lose your block at the end of the turn, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Slay the Spire, unless there are a couple of fucking ways you can keep your block. But yeah, I don't know. It just sounds like you're making a bad deck.
But I can't.
There must be some part of this.
I'm not given the options. It gives you cards, right? Here's your basic cards, and you go out in the world and you pay. They just did a patch this morning, which changed a little bit of how the game works. Previously, there would be these bits on the map you would interact with and pay 25 gold, and it would give you one of the 3 cards. You pick a card that you want. Now you go and interact with this thing, and it no longer charges you 25 gold. You get to look at the cards and be like, I will take one of those 25 cards.
Gold. Yeah. Okay.
And so you can pick whether or not you want cards. And so you're building your deck that way. The other way that you can build decks is by finding these gems, and then you socket the gems into the cards, and that buffs them up depending on whatever the gem does. But I think the problem fundamentally I've got with it is things just do so much damage that even though I've got 4 cards where I'm blocking, my cards do 6 block, and I'm using 4 cards to block with 6, but this other thing is doing 48 damage. I'm like, oh, well, all right. There's no situation here where I could have played this better. I can't, everything is just fucking destroying me. And so I think what is going on is there are things in the game where it's those pages I was talking about. Oh, okay. Well, this hero that you've got gets more hit points. And so all of a sudden it's those hit points aren't as bad as what it was when I first started, because it can tank a little bit more. And so it's sort of grinding a little bit.
Right. So it's got, okay. So my bad. Okay. I think I didn't understand that part of it, that you're supposed to build these cards through the grind. Which... I don't think you're building the cards. It's just the heroes. So the hero itself is getting more hit points, or maybe its ability changes a little bit. But do you get gems? Do gems stay between games?
No,
or...
you find them as you discover more of the world, or you can buy them and things like that. So maybe I'm just playing it wrong. I tried to watch some streamers today. One of them was incredibly boring, and she was the second highest on the stream. She wasn't talking at all, so I got rid of that person after about 5 minutes. The next guy that I was watching was really good. He was talking through his maneuvers, why he was doing them. That's the kind of thing that I want to watch when I watch a deck builder like this. What are their thoughts? Why are they playing these cards specifically? And how can I learn from them? But they were also using characters that I wasn't playing, so that was a bit tough. But I just switched to a new hero this morning, and that seemed a bit interesting. He works off of every time he takes damage, he gets rage, and once he builds up a certain amount of rage, his cards modify so they do a different effect. So they're sort of like a double-sided card, but you can see one side of the card, and then when he gets into his rage mode, he can then spend all that rage to do what's on the back of the card, and sometimes it's like very impactful. And so I'm sort of just still learning all this stuff. I just like I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun with it. It's just this niggling like RNG aspect of it feels like things just do too much damage, and there's no way for me to counter it or to like
Yeah, you just get walloped until your characters upgrade.
Yeah, just the nature of I feel like I'm in this hole of all right, my character has now died, and there's a cool little aspect of being able to revive your characters. You can play these like revive cards, and once you play a certain amount of them, they come back into the game, and you're able to start fighting with them again. But you've also got like wound cards, which take up parts of your hand.
Right.
And so those cards that you would have been actual cards that you can use are now wound cards, and basically this character can keep on dying, but every time that they die, you get more wound cards, and they take up more cards in your hand, and eventually it's just like diminishing returns where you just can't do anything anyway because you just don't have the cards. And it's very hard to heal after battles, and so if you are taking all of this damage, there are some health canisters that you can find, and then you can level them up, so there's more of them in the map. And I think that's kind of the nature of the game. It kind of wants you to keep going through and dying and playing and trying to unlock some of these other traits, and then going back in and dying and then unlocking a couple more. From what I understand, there's like 3 chapters. I've gotten like halfway through chapter 2 with this sort of one build, but it's like I think it's really cool. The art style's fantastic. It's got really neat look to it. I love the idea of this world that you're painting and you're exploring it, and I dig the cards and the combo system, and the how you switch characters back and forward from defense to offense, and how that sort of initiates what you're doing in the game. It's just every time I'm defending in the game, I'm like, sometimes everything works perfectly, and I feel like I'm defending properly in the way I should, like in the way I should be defending. Like, hey, I just blocked 20 points of damage, and then all of a sudden it's like, I'm about to take 63 points of damage from these 2 things, and I literally can't do anything about it. There's no way I could have known this is coming before I got into this fight. There's no way I could have even done anything during the fight, because that is like most block cards that you start off with are like 6 block, and if I start gemming them, maybe I'll get 12 block. So even if I'm playing one of my best blocking cards and I need to block 50 points of damage, I've got to play like 6 of those things and maybe get lucky. So I don't know, man. Like, maybe I'm just not playing the way I'm supposed to be, or I don't know. It just seems like I'm sort of. It's failing.
Probably one of those things, right? Like all of these rogue-liked deck builders have that like thing, right? When it clicks, you're like, oh, okay, and now it all makes sense, and all the dominoes fall, all the cards fall into place, and like, okay, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. That's how it's supposed to be played. One of those type things that just hasn't like landed yet or something.
Yeah. And the fact that it's got like other heroes that you can jump in and play, I think is kind of cool. They did get a bunch of flack during release for this. Basically, they had it's like a DLC pack for the game when it launched. People were upset because they found it as like either I don't know what you call it, not like hiding cards, but giving certain players an advantage that bought this premium product of the game, and then got like extra abilities and extra cards and all that sort of stuff. So they obviously copped a lot of shit for it. They have since reverted that. They've given everybody those cards. They're giving people refunds that have asked for them, and so they've turned that around, because they got a lot of shit for that first couple of days when it came out. It was basically like 60% of the reviews. Oh, sorry, maybe like 40% of the reviews were negative just because of that move there. So they copped some crap, but they turned around and fixed it, which is good. I know this was on. I feel like this was on your list of things you wanted to check out. Like, did you end up playing this at all at some stage?
I haven't played it yet. No, I remember you played the demo or something.
Yeah, it was like a demo. Yeah.
But no, I haven't checked it out just yet. I remember complaining. Well, I was like, is $36 more than these games usually go for? But it turns out it's not. I think in my brain I was like, $36 plus this fucking DLC, like this day one DLC, seems expensive for something I don't know if I'm gonna like. But they've made the day one DLC free, obviously. So I might grab it and check it out. But
Yeah.
I'd have to drag myself away from my current obsession, which is Phantom Abyss.
Okay.
Which is a first-person puzzle platforming game made by a Queensland team called Team Wibby. And huh? What
is it? Weeby?
I don't know. I've been saying Wibby because Weeby sounds bad.
Okay. Fair
But yeah, you're basically an Indiana Jones type explorer rolling through a temple, attempting to get these idols, and you just keep looping over and over and over again. Every time you go through, the dungeon or temple that you're going through is a little bit different. It's a parkour game basically. And I reckon it's fucking rad. I didn't click with it instantly, but after doing a couple of runs, it sort of made more and more sense to me. So it strikes me as one of those games that needs better communication from the outset about what's going on. I do also think that maybe there were some bugs. It's very early in the early access for an early access game. Like usually early access games are just about to fucking come out and they're like, oh, it's early access, play it 2 weeks early. But this is more of the Subnautica style of early access where you're playing a game the moment they've got something playable to show.
I think this is like next year basically. This thing will be out at some stage.
Yeah. It's really fucking cool. It plays really fucking well.
Such an interesting idea.
Yeah, it is. Like, yeah, you roll through these fucking levels, trying to, and like, there's some proper risk reward stuff at play. I do think that maybe the risk at the moment is too high, because when you die, you lose everything, including the fucking whip you're carrying, which is, I think, a little bit too harsh. I feel like you should keep at least some of the keys you find along the way. As a reward for exploring along, like as you're going through, and it might, turn into a little bit of a farm situation. Although you can't get any of the really good keys until much later, anyway. And yeah, you sort of like rolling through all of the progression, all of the real progression, apart from the whips. So you unlock new whips, and these whips have different abilities. Attach them, and you can upgrade the whips as well. But like most of the progression of the game is actually attached to your knowledge, because what you're doing as you roll through is learning these maps, learning how these maps work and how you should like treat each tile in. So the maps are made up of these tile sets, and you learn the tile sets themselves, and the tile sets appear to have a couple of different variants each time. So you might see a tile set, but it's slightly different. Like it's got a different secret wall or something like that. And like, yeah, it's sort of a good system, because you know what you're in for when you enter a room, but you don't know exactly what's coming. Like, I could go for, like, it's got these chests that you'll get as you go through, and The chests give you money and keys, and you need the keys to unlock these doors to get further in, like to get further to. As you go through, you'll have the option to either go to grab a low level idol, or you'll have the option to use one of these keys to go further into the game and get a higher level idol. But obviously, if you die, you've wasted it. The other thing is the keys are used to unlock whips and stuff like that. But yeah, there's like these keys in these chests, but the chests appear to be always in the same spot. So once you know these locations, once you know what tile you're in, you know where to find the chests in question. And I would prefer it if the chests were a little bit more randomized, but at the same time, the layout out of these rooms is such that I don't know if they could do that necessarily, because what they're trying to do is make sure that chests don't wind up in locations that would get you hurt, on a pile of spikes or something.
Sure.
Anyway, you go to the chest, you get money. At the end of each level, there's like a blessing statue, and the statue allows you to upgrade. It might be a longer whip or a faster whip or a
more
health, double jump, slow fall, that kind of stuff, which is pretty cool. There aren't enough of those in the game yet, in my opinion. They definitely need to ramp up how many of those there are, because it's very common for me to get to the end of a second tier run and have exhausted the options of what I could possibly upgrade to. So that's obviously not ideal. But yeah, what else? There's phantoms in these games. I guess it's in the title, but so there's ghost characters, and you can see what other players have done while they're in the level. Although there is an element of knowing that if you see a ghost in a level, they will die. You know that they'll die because they're a ghost, right? And that you don't appear as a ghost if you successfully complete a level. In fact, what happens is you wipe all those other ghosts. You wipe the capacity for players to do that level again. And anyone who died in it gets their whip back and stuff like that. So yeah, you are actually technically helping a bunch of people if you succeed in a level. Yeah. Although if you see 20 people have died in a location, you can be pretty certain that it's a tricky one.
Yeah. It's such a cool idea. It's sort of like a Dark Souls bloodstain on crack, or where, like, rather than you seeing how this person has died in the last 5 seconds, it's you see their entire run, like where they're going, sort of like a ghost in a car racing game. Like you follow that line, and this is exactly how it plays out here. You start at the level, and like everybody just starts running, and it's a cool thing because it. For new players, at least, it also shows them how to get past certain sections, or like find hidden objects, things like that. And so it's a really cool like helping tool, but as well as showing you how far people have gotten. Like I was playing one area, one of these dungeons, temples yesterday, and like realizing, there's nobody else here. Like everybody. There's no more ghosts. So this is the furthest anyone's ever gotten on this specific level. And like you said, every level is like procedurally generated. It's randomized, but also every level has a seeding system to it. So I can get the seed. It's not in the, I think they disabled it at this stage, but
they've re-enabled it.
They re-enabled it? Okay. So there's a seed for that particular temple, and you can give it to somebody else, and they can then go and try and do that same run that you did, and I guess try and get your stuff back. But it's just,
if you die, you lose your whip.
Yeah.
If you've got a special whip, if you've got a cool whip, you lose that whip, and someone else has to go through that level to get it back, or you can pay keys to retrieve it. But fuck that shit.
Pay a streamer to go get it.
Hey.
Pay a streamer.
Yeah,
Yeah, here's
that's it.
here's 5 biddies. Here's my
Yep.
code.
Here's some bits, motherfucker. Go get my goddamn whip.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you can share it, and yeah, I had a message from someone else who plays. It was like, go get my whip back. I lost it. It's my favorite whip. Like, all right. And then they disable it. I'm like, well, I'm afraid it's lost now.
Yeah.
But like randomly other people will go into that level. So if they succeed through it, they may get it back for you anyway. But
Yeah.
I've definitely like logged off for the night and come back the next day, and people have like retrieved my whip at random. So some of my whips, I've got some that I don't think will ever be gotten because I lost them way too deep in the temple. Very deep in the temple. Yeah, I'm pretty far. I've gotten pretty far in the game. Still haven't quite finished stage 3. I'm talking through the levels based on the idol as a stage. So stage 1 is the first idol, stage 2 is the second idol, stage 3 I haven't quite reached that idol yet, but I've gotten real fucking close, and I believe I have what it takes to get there now, because I've got some fucking killer whips. When you succeed, so there's actually a bit of a like, there's a good reason for you to go, like, it felt like for me for a while that once you'd finished stage 1, there was no reason to stop at stage 1 anymore. But if you've got like a level 1 whip, a stage 1 whip, and you finish stage 1, you get the idol in stage 1, then you actually bless that whip. You get a blessing for that whip. You upgrade it, which is fucking huge, right? It's a big deal. It removes the negative part of that whip. And so if you've got like I had like a whip where I could stand in water and pay money to
heal.
To heal, yeah. And I can't remember what its negative was, but it was bad, right?
I think you drop money. The one I saw was like you drop more money
when you take damage. Yeah. When you take damage, you drop all your money, like you're fucking Sonic or some shit, dropping all your coins and all your rings, and then so you wouldn't have the money you needed to heal. So it was sort of like twofold, right? Like not only were you like you need that money for blessings, you need that money for healing, and you've taken damage, you're in trouble. But if you wrap through all the way through and bless that whip, it no longer does that. It's no longer dropping all your coins when you take damage, which is really cool. There was another one where if you stood in water, you took damage, and it doesn't take long. It's like if you're in water for 1 second, you take damage. So you got to fucking bounce over water. Like suddenly water is an obstacle. And there's not a lot of water in these levels, but there's some, and it's enough to fucking hurt you. And so you got to pay attention to that shit. And once you bless it, that's no longer a problem. And with a stage 2 whip, you have to actually succeed to getting through stage 2 to wipe that shit out. So I, before we started playing Sea of Thieves yesterday, I had a whip that gave me 3 extra hearts from the outset. And what was its negative? It had like all the guardians were double damage. So doubled up. So I was up against the fucking poison bomb motherfucker.
Yeah, I don't think you explained the guardians are.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So each level has a guardian. I've only seen 3 so far. I don't know if I believe they've got 5 planned. I don't know if all 5 are in the game, but I've only seen 3. There's the devouring rage, I think it is, and it's basically a big thing that will just chase you, and if it catches you, you die, like flat out die, even from full health, even from 6 health, you die. And each level that you complete, it powers up. It gets angrier and powers up. So it starts off moving at 3 meters per second, which isn't very fast. You can basically do whatever you want on a level against the Guardian that's going at 3 meters per second. But by the time you reach the fucking end, it is fucking powering along. I believe its fastest is 5 meters per second, and it is moving about as fast as you are, which means any stop you make is enough for it to catch you. And so you are under the fucking pump with that one. The poison bomb throws out poison bombs. I think it starts with like 4, and by the end it's throwing out like 12. And 12 poison bombs is a fucking lot of poison bombs. And it basically just gasses out an area, and if you run through it, you take damage. And that is
I think that one needs to
pretty
change.
rough. Although you can exploit the fuck out of it by it'll spawn in front of you. And one of the things I was doing, I don't know if you were watching my Discord shared stream while I was streaming yesterday, but one of the things I did was I look behind me when I knew it was going to spawn, because that would spawn it behind me, and then I could run forward. And you could do that pretty easily. They should probably do something about that, because yeah, you can. It's not that hard, and I think they nerfed the poison bomb dude today, so it's even easier. No, once you know how to fucking manage him, he's pretty easy. But
yeah, I felt like you just took too much damage too quickly from it.
Yeah, I've never taken any damage from his poison balls, so I don't know. But yeah, the third guy is he shoots a laser. He spawns somewhere, and then he tracks you, and after a certain amount of time, he shoots a laser. And the first time he tracks you, it takes 6 seconds, so you've got plenty of time to get out of the way of the laser. But by the time you're at peak fucking that dude, it's fucking quick. It's like 3 seconds or something, and it is like bang. You get fucking blacked. That doesn't kill you outright, but it does a fuck ton of damage again. So you've got to manage that shit pretty carefully. Yeah, it's a tricky. It's a good system because it means that there is a degree of pressure along the way. When I was just doing, like, I reckon up to when you're just doing the second stage, if you're just trying to farm second stage, Devouring Rage is your best bet, because you can outrun that motherfucker pretty easly. But after stage 2, once you get to stage 3, or if you've got the double damage whip, double guardian whip rather, he's too fast. There's way too much. Like, because you come to these rooms where you got to get a key and you got to open the door, and the door takes like 3 seconds to fucking open, and you had to divert to get a key. The amount of fucking, like, the speed that he's going at, yeah, you don't get away with that shit.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And obviously a lot of this stuff's going to change, right? It's early access, and like you said, they put out like a patch today, a patch yesterday. They're definitely balancing
they're on
things
top of
and all
this
that
shit.
sort of stuff. Yeah.
Which is rad. Yeah, they're going at it, trying to make sure it's as high quality as possible. And yeah, I'm loving it so far. I'm really fucking jammed with it. I put up a video on my YouTube channel. You can go have a watch of me playing through like just a stage 2 idle run. Just sort of chucked it up there. There was my recording goofed. I don't know. Shadowplay's been weird lately, which is annoying, but still a good video. Gives you a good idea of some high level play, I think.
Mid-level.
If you're interested in seeing it in action, because I'm quite good at the game.
Play.
Mid-level, you reckon? Mid-level. What are you up to? How far are you into it now?
I told you, I got the first idol, and then I was like, all right, let's Sea of Thieves time, baby.
What would you even know? What mid or high level?
I am old school Quake trick jumper. All right, I know what I'm doing.
You aren't good enough to fucking smell my taint, motherfucker. I am the fucking best Phantom Abyss player of all time.
Okay,
I will not listen. The video in question, I had a whip that minused 2 hearts from me, so I had 2 fewer hearts from the fucking outset, and that feels like, obviously you should be playing every game as if you've only, like, every round as if you've only got 1 heart, right? Like, you can't afford to take any damage, but man, it's just the added pressure. You're just like, oh god, I'm gonna fucking die. One hit and I'm dead. anyway, yeah.
All right, so that is Phantom Abyss. It's available on Steam in early access. It's on sale at the moment. It's about 25 Australian, 26 Australian, or 20 US. And so you can check that out if you are interested. Let's move on to the last game we got here, Sea of Thieves, A Pirate's Life. This is the third season of Sea of Thieves, I guess, that they've sort of launched. And or chapter? I don't know. What do you call it? I assume they do seasons quite regularly.
I think they're
right?
calling it seasons.
Okay.
I think they're calling it seasons. Yeah.
Third big update for Sea of Thieves. So the last one that we talked about was like their Tall Tales introduction, where they introduced a bunch of like campaign missions into the game that you go around and do piratey things. We had a lot of fun with that. This one is same sort of thing, a bunch of new Tall Tales, which is a crossover with Pirates of the Caribbean from Disney, and as well as a bunch of other changes into the game. And so we jumped on last night, crew of 4, and went treasure hunting, went looking for things, went looking for Jack Sparrow himself, and
Yep.
yeah, it was fun to get back into that thing and slowly relearn everything. Like spend the first 10 minutes. All right, how do I get my sword out? Okay.
Yeah. What am I doing in this game? Fuck.
Fair enough.
How do we do anything?
But anyway, it sort of kicks off with there's a new NPC on the beach of your starting island, I guess, or the islands that you're at. You can talk to them. They will give you a quest item, which is a book, and then also a location you need to go to, and it's a glowing cave vagina in the sea. And once you do that, it transports you to an instanced world, which is interesting. I think that's new. I don't think they've had instant stuff before. I'm okay with that because I've had fun when I've played a bunch of this stuff and I haven't had to worry about other people. And then all of a sudden, I'm playing solo and a fucking giant ship with 4 people have showed up, and my 40 minutes of treasure hunting is now gone because I'm about to be raided by all these pirates. And so not having to worry about that anymore is really cool. Like, you just kind of want to do the thing you're doing with some friends. Obviously, there's some aspects of being a pirate where you want to be a pirate and get up to some shenanigans, but this is also some story-based gameplay. So that was an interesting change to me. I quite liked it. Although I've heard that some of the other missions aren't instance, and people have had some problems with them, of like people camping certain areas to try and kill them and just all this stuff. But anyway, we had to like go on this treasure hunt on this island and find this like talking head named Dougie. Or was it Doogie? I can't remember. Dougie.
No, that was a different talking skeleton.
All right, talking skeleton head, and we had to solve this like riddle and series of puzzles with 4 of us running around this island, and it was cool. Like, that's the sort of stuff that I've liked about these Sea of Thieves games, like solving strange puzzles and figuring out what the game is trying to get you to do.
Treasure hunting, right? Like treasure hunting, actual
like,
treasure hunting.
There was a point where there was like a skeleton in the bed, and you could move his arm, and when you moved his arm, it'd move over the top of the map. And when you did that, it then marked like an X on the spot. And like Nate and I are trying to figure out where this X is on this map. And we went and found it, and it like dug something up. And it's like, cool. And while you guys were running around like trying to solve a different part of the puzzle.
Me and Racy, yeah.
Yeah,
we were just solving a different puzzle, and like just sort of intuitively looking at stuff around the map. I wound up digging in this spot because I was like, okay, it looks like someone's dug here before. That was why I started digging there, which wound up working out quite well for us. And then, you just sort of like follow these breadcrumb trails all the way to treasure. This one, I felt it felt kind of linear to me, a little bit too linear. like this particular first one, but maybe it's just the starter. I'm hoping they get
Yeah.
more complex. The start too was basically just Nate reckoned it was like actual recordings from the fucking Pirates of the Caribbean
Right.
Disney ride,
I think it
and
is. It sounded familiar.
they sounded awful. They sounded like shit. Like they've
But I
been
think that was the
recorded.
idea, right? It was supposed to be the ride in Sea of Thieves.
Well, I didn't find it at all enchanting, and it was just sort of like, is this it? This sounds like garbage. Why would they do this? So yeah, I didn't. Yeah, it didn't really work for me. But if it works for other people, fair enough. I don't really like. I'm not a fan of those sorts of rides. To be honest, I like thrill rides, not like slow moving bullshit.
Yep.
Anyway,
Yeah, fair enough.
So yeah, that part didn't work for me. But yeah, once we got a bit further in, running around that little town, that little ghost town, was pretty cool. And yeah, we did uncover some stuff. I just would like it to be a bit more complex. And then rescuing Jack Sparrow was sort of just, what it is.
Yeah,
right.
It seems a bit
I
more
feel like-
story focused, right? I mean, they've got this license. They're probably going to milk as much
Yeah.
as they can from that.
I feel like we got ripped off from like a Kraken fight that we were supposed to have. We were fully expecting a Kraken fight, but instead we just sort of got teleported back to our own ship, which is a bit disappointing. Yeah, I don't know. Like, obviously, Sea of Thieves and Pirates of the Caribbean, kids franchises, I suppose, but I was hoping for a little bit more complexity. But we'll have to keep playing and see if they get more complex as they go. Hopefully they will.
Yeah. I don't think we ever finished the other ones, right? I think we got like 3 more left of the original Tall Tales.
Yeah, true.
To get through, but it'd be cool to sort of see what they've learned and how they have, I guess, evolved the formula. Anyway, we finished that. We handed in. No, we didn't hand it in. We basically got back into our ship, and then saw like a giant skull pirate in the sky, floating
Like a
head,
flaming skull.
flaming skull, and so we're like, let's go to that because that looks different. I know there used to be stuff like that in the game, but it didn't look like this before. This was very detailed, and it was like talking to us and things, and I thought that was really cool. And as we got closer, we could see a ship like in there fighting a bunch of other ghost ships. And I ran downstairs and looked at the map, and it was like a PvP ship or a it might have been a faction ship. I'm not too sure. Like Racy said, there's factions in there now, and so anyway, this ship was marked as like you can see it on your map, and so we belted in there, and they started fighting us. They shot first.
They shot first. They absolutely did. We were just sort of sailing in, and they shot first. 100%. They turned away from the ghost ship that they were fighting to come and try to fight us. And they had all these special fucking cannonballs that they were using, and they were on the fucking megaphones, like yelling trash talk and shit, and telling us, "Oh, hey guys, oh yeah, oh you came to the wrong part of the sea, and what are you doing here?" and all this kind of shit. And yeah, talking endless amounts of trash. They wrecked our fucking ship. It was on fire all over the fucking place, had holes everywhere. Well, actually, that was the problem, right? The mistake they made was they took out our mast, they set us on fire, and then they didn't put any fucking holes in our hull. So we were just sort of dead in the water, repairing. They were like shooting themselves across, and I don't know, they got a couple of kills, but we were able to revive. Like, you're able to revive now. So we got you guys back up, and we blapped them. I never died to any of them. I got a fucking bunch of kills, I'll tell you what. And then, yeah, they like never put any fucking actual holes in our ship. They forgot to use real cannonballs, and they just used specials on us. And they were, just, I guess, I don't know, flossing on us, right?
Well, they definitely used some cannonballs, because I was downstairs and ran out of.
We did have some holes. The best, like, what fucking cracks me up about this entire thing is that we rolled into this fight off the back of this tall tale that we done. We hadn't really stocked up on shit. Like we hadn't stocked up on anything. They're rolling around in this fucking race. He reckons it's a $4 million fucking boat or some shit, with tattered sails and all this fucking Superfly shit. Clearly been playing Sea of Thieves nonstop their entire fucking time. We're rolling up in our fucking garbage boat with nothing on it, and
Well,
four
we
dudes who barely
can't
remember how
forget
to
how to put
fucking
away our
play.
swords.
Yeah, and then we fucking sunk them. We fucking sunk them pretty fucking easy, mostly because they had us dead in the water. The ghost ships were coming in. I think that's what most of the fucking hull damage was the ghost ships were started attacking us because we were closer and they'd lost aggro. Like the other team had lost aggro. And so they came back in for another fucking run, and they like came swimming across, and they're shit talking us. And so I jumped off the fucking boat and swam over and fucking blapped the fuck out of the dude on the wheel. Came the guy on the fucking cannons, dropped the anchor. Nate come up on top, dropped their third guy, and then that was it. We just fucking emptied into them. The ghosts help as well. I think they had the majority of the fucking aggro because they had a bunch of ghost treasure chests, and I think that drew a lot of aggro. But yeah, we just fucking we were still dead in the water basically, so we couldn't move, but we'd managed to stop it so that right in front of us, and we sunk them.
Yeah,
Easy.
they got
peasy.
sunk, and then our ship was on fire,
Yeah.
literally burning.
Ages.
The masts were like all fucked. The anchor was.
We didn't
broken.
know how to repair masts. We were struggling to put fucking fire out.
I think you guys were struggling to everything. I was swimming out there and like picking up these chests, and I'd turn around, and half the ship is on fire. And I'm like, guys, you have to put the ship on, like it's on fire. And then I would get onto the ship, I would drop off a chest, I would swim back out, turn around, and half the ship is still on fire. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Luke, like, on the fucking mic, like, put the fucking fire out. And we're, like, desperately, me and Nate are the only ones with planks left underneath the fucking boat, like, hammering fucking holes up, trying to fucking bail this thing out. Every time we bail out, like, what you couldn't see, because you were just dumping fucking chests on and giving us shit, was that all of the second level of this fucking nightmare was on fire as well. And so you'd run down and, like, hammer up some fucking holes, and then when you went back up to the second level, you would be on fire. Like, you were on fire, so you're like managing your health, like eating a fucking banana and like putting out the water from like. It was actually somewhat fortunate because you could use the water that was filling the bottom of the fucking boat and sinking us to put out the fire that was on the second level. But then you had to go up and put it out on the deck and then up on the fucking top floor. When you're on fire, I didn't know this, but it scorches the steering wheel, and so you can't when I was steering us away at the end, I couldn't see. You know, you use the gold. There's
Handle.
like on the steering wheel, there's one gold prong, and that indicates like directly forward, but also on the big galleon, it also indicates like how far. So you use that to know exactly how hard you're turning left and right, or if you're going directly straight. Couldn't fucking see it for the life of me. So I couldn't fucking I had to like listen very carefully for the gung that it does. It does like a little gung noise when you go to direct center, which was very hard to hear because Luke wouldn't shut the fuck up about how we were on fire. And I'm like, I fucking know we're on fire. The fucking ship is on fire behind me, and I'm trying to steer us away from some fucking rocks. Can't work out where fucking forward is, and I'm like, oh god, we're gonna fucking die. But no, we didn't. Not only did we not die,
I put the fire out.
I fucking get the fuck out of here! You put the fucking fire out. It was a team effort. We all put the fire out. All you did was steal all their loot. I killed them all, right? You came in and swept up. Anyway, so they talked endless amounts of shit. had we were fucking literally sitting ducks. Like, because we were fucking sitting ducklings, really. We had fucking no clue what we were doing. I had never seen a mast get taken down before. I had no idea what we were fucking supposed to do. So I couldn't work that out. But so we couldn't even fucking repair shit. Never seen fire before. Like, all this shit. They had us lock, stock, the fucking lot, and we still walked away with all their fucking loot. Turned it all in, easy fucking peasy. I would have gotten them too. I would have gotten them again, but I got eaten by a shark. That's the only time I died. That's when I had to bail. I was like, I'm just gonna swim out to them. I'm gonna swim out and jump on their boat and murder them again because they're shit. I can do it. I've got absolutely no doubt in my mind that I can kill these motherfuckers again.
Yeah.
I am wandering out. I haven't reloaded my ammo. Don't have any health left. I don't care. I'm still gonna fucking. And then a shark came and got me. I'm like, oh, well, that's fair. I have to go make dinner anyway. But yeah, that was good fun. I like that you can do the tall tale in an instance because there is a degree of like terror in the idea that you're going to wind up losing all your shit. But at the same time, what I like about Sea of Thieves is other people. Is the same thing I like about DayZ, and yeah, yeah. I think we did some good shit in that game. That was fucking fun as shit. I love Sea of Thieves.
Yeah. I think next time we maybe do some stocking up. I definitely stocked up before we left. I don't think anyone else stocked up because we literally ran out of boards.
Racy loaded it in while we were all already out at sea. So Racy gets a pass on that one. That wasn't his fault. Me, I jumped on the ship and started raising the anchor. Yeah. The entire the whole time the chick was telling us what we were supposed to be doing, we weren't listening even a
You're
little
like,
bit.
see ya, I'm out.
Peace out. Yeah, lady. We get it. We're sailing into the sea vagina. It's fine. Don't worry about it. We can work this shit out as we go. And then we get through the sea vagina. We're like, what the fuck are we supposed to be doing? Nobody fucking knows what we're supposed to be doing here. Yeah. Anyway,
I like the like when we ended that first tall tale. Like there's this sunset that was like coming out of. It was a sunrise, I think. It was like coming out of, it would have been sunrise, and there's this like giant sun behind this island that is slowly rising, and then like the camera like zooms out behind the boat and very cinematic. And I don't know, man, they've done such a good job with that game to turn that around and just put some awesome stuff in there that makes it a lot of fun.
Added content, like injected a bunch of content into it.
Yeah. Like I'm remembering those old tall tales that we did where it was like that crazy island we were on that we were running around trying to solve puzzles and it was like exploding and there was like Indiana Jones traps in this cave and all this wild, insane stuff. And yeah, that's like I'm hoping there's like more of that sort of craziness to the game and how they've evolved that. Because you're like, they got that volcano section in the game. I don't think I've been there once. Like that whole entire area.
Although that video is endlessly hilarious. Yeah. They have a lot in there that they just don't utilize as much as they probably should.
Yeah. Anyway, anything else to add? That Sea of Thieves?
No, I don't think so. No.
All right. Well, let's keep going here. We'll do some news and then we will start to get out of here. Let's kick things off with EA is reportedly reviving the Dead Space IP. This is a reveal that is supposed to be coming in the next EA Play in, I think it's July. They announced a date for this like yesterday. Let me see if it says here when it's coming. Next. I thought they announced a date for this. Do you remember if they did?
Oh, I don't think they did.
Oh. I can't find anything. It says there's leaks and things here. Anyway, so this is supposed to be coming out soon. This announcement, apparently Motive is working on it. They were developing the Star Wars Squadrons game. And so they've now moved on to this Dead Space thing. It's apparently not a, I guess, continuation of that original Dead Space series. It's supposedly more of like a reboot, reimagining of it. What are your sort of thoughts on, I guess, Dead Space and then EA reviving Dead Space?
Me and Nate played a bit of Dead Space 3 the other week.
The co-op,
not a lot of it.
Yeah,
we did not have fun, but
really,
we went back.
I thought
to
that did really interesting things with like one player would see things in the game and the other one would see them differently. Yeah.
We didn't get that deep into it. We'd played it like at the preview event, as I recall correctly. We'd played it together in San Francisco, and we had a whale of a time. Basically the same, but in the same vein that you, me, and Nate all had a fucking spectacular time playing State of Decay 2 together. In that we were just being morons and like fucking with each other the entire fucking time. And so we're like, maybe we should jump back in and see how that one actually goes. But we were just not having a good time. I mean, it's got all like some odd decisions, the way it just plays. So yeah, it wasn't the classic Dead Space experience that we were looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know. I don't know if a co-op game really works for
A horror game.
horror. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's why that interesting mechanic of players seeing something different to what you're seeing.
Certainly.
Adds
like 100%. Like when I can see a Christmas display in an elevator and you can't.
Yeah.
Apparently.
It's not there.
Yeah, not there. Anyway. Yeah. I think Dead Space is a really cool like idea and world and story, and like I think they've built such a really cool world, but I would be hesitant to revisit it without the core team that made it happen in the first place, because I think they really got it. And you could see by the time Dead Space 3 came around that that team didn't really get it. So
yeah,
I would be skeptical until I saw it executed well. Yeah.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen because Glenn Schofield is now working on PUBG. So
exactly,
different.
Basically, exactly what I was thinking. Yeah,
different team. But also like EA's track record of single player story games is not that strong. I think Respawn's Jedi Fallen Order was up there in terms of a good move, but they don't really have a good catalog of those types of games. And so what is their agenda here with Dead Space? Is it going to be a multiplayer game? Is it something else? You know, it's sort of hard to give them credit at the moment for trying to bring this back without knowing what direction it's going to go into.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think they don't have, like, you know, Jedi was good, but yeah, I just don't know how they turn this into something that they would really do justice to. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Look at Battlefield doesn't even have a campaign either. Like, it just seems to be Jedi Fallen Order is their last sort of big game with a campaign, and everything else is very much centered around either, you know, live service games, Anthem, multiplayer stuff. I feel like Mass Effect will maybe be their big like single player focus, but they're absolutely putting multiplayer in that game for sure. They have to, right? There's got to be some sort of multiplayer component. So I don't know. Like, I'm definitely keen to see what this Dead Space thing is next month. but
Yep.
not holding my breath at this stage. So
Mm,
we'll see. All right.
we'll see.
Another game I am not holding my breath for is Aliens Fireteam Elite, which now has a release date. It's got a new name. It's coming out August 24th, which is really soon.
Way too soon. Really? Right?
Yeah, I'm still like on the fence about this game being any good. We've not seen like anything from this thing, and it's out in 2 months. And they've changed the name of it.
Yeah. They got that new trailer. It was out yesterday or today at some point. I just like I don't think Alien is a I don't think it's a generic franchise, so I don't think it really like serves to be like made with a generic game. You know, like I prefer like there's so much it's
Quarantine
such a rich
Fireteam Elite.
fucking world that like it's better when it's done like isolation or you know if you want to do this goofy fucking action shit it's got to be like the tension just doesn't exist in these generic wave based shooters. I think it just doesn't like the tension isn't there because it sort of always comes down to either you succeed or you don't. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm very skeptical, or not even skeptical. Like I would say I'm more pessimistic about the concept. You know, I'd love for it to be good, but
Hope it is. But
doubts.
like we talked about the last couple of weeks, this is the next year of bringing back co-op,
Yeah,
Left 4 Dead-esque games. Like there's a ton of them coming out now, so they got some big competition. But anyway, we'll definitely check that out. Next up, we've got Cyberpunk 2077 gets a new patch and returns to the PlayStation Store. But with an important notice, if you go to the PlayStation Store, this is the information they've got here. It says users continue to experience performance issues with this game. Purchase for use on PlayStation 4 systems is not recommended. This is, don't forget, this is a PlayStation 4 game. This is not Cyberpunk 2077 does not have the next gen update. This is a game designed for these systems. It says here for the best Cyberpunk experience on PlayStation, play on the PlayStation 4 Pro and PlayStation 5 systems. So this is after PlayStation removed Cyberpunk 2077 from their store last year. It's been absent from the store for over the 6 months at this stage. When I guess CD Projekt gave Sony a little bit of a like kind of forced their hand, I guess. You know, hey, we're going to offer refunds. You know, you can refund the game. It's fine. You can do that. And Sony being like, what? You didn't know? Okay, we'll offer refunds, but we're also taking your game off our store. And this was, so this was 6 months ago. And I don't know, man. Like this seems just like still a dumpster fire of a buggy game that is now 8 months after release. It's still busted. It shouldn't have come out at this state. Like it feels like this game shouldn't have been out still at this point. The way it's sort of running, they've pushed back the next gen upgrades for these games. So this stuff is like, you got to remember when they were making Cyberpunk 2077, those old PlayStation 4, Xbox One consoles were what they were designing this thing for, and it just fundamentally is broken on it. I don't know if you've seen the videos that have sort of come out in the last couple of days of what's been changed, but the pedestrians have all but been removed. Traffic has all but been removed, like extremely toned down to get it to a point where it can run at a good frame rate. That's not including all the issues that it's still having. Any thoughts on this one?
No, nothing that you haven't already said. This is still woefully behind, like what it should have been, what people expected, let alone, you know, the hype machine, pitched. So, yeah, no,
Yeah.
I don't.
I mean, for me, it's not like some of it is not surprising. I think it's because when I remember when I saw this game, I think I would have said on here like this is a next gen game. It's not coming to these consoles, and they put it out on them, and like it doesn't run. It's just a mess. So I think they should have just focused on next gen. They should have pushed this game back another year, at least, and sorted it out. Because at this stage, they have like ruined their credibility, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
All right, and the last piece of news we got here is Sega is turning Sonic into a VTuber. What is this?
I just saw this earlier today, and Jesus, I don't know what it is. The whole VTuber concept makes me feel so fucking old. I cannot imagine. I think it's just an anime thing. Like, I just don't like that art style. It's just, but it's so Sonic to be just, oh yeah, let's do this. This is a trend. Let's do this. Just on 30 years of Sonic.
Yeah.
There's been
Hot tub
3
stream
good
for
years.
Sonic.
Hot tub stream Sonic is coming. Yeah, 30 years and only 3 good years. Although Sonic Mania is apparently good, and it's coming to Xbox Game Pass. So I will actually play it because I refuse to pay for another Sonic game. I will never pay for another Sonic game.
You've been paying for Sonic games for the last 25 years.
Exactly.
With your soul, not with money.
Of course. Yeah. So, yeah. Once I see a good Sonic game, maybe they could convince me to come back. But, yeah, Sonic Mania eventually coming to Game Pass. I'll wait until that happens before I have any possible faith in the series again. Yeah. Anyway, I just thought it was funny because, classic Sonic.
Yeah.
Classic Sonic.
All right.
Yeah.
That is the news. Have we got any questions for this week?
Great question. Do we have questions? Questions. Johnny Bravo writes, "Hey guys, long time listener, first time caller. What was your biggest non-announcement at E3, i.e. mansplaining? What were you expecting to get announced that didn't? JB, GG easy. Oh, we were playing fucking Battlefield 4. I didn't mention it. We had a huge fucking bunch of people playing Battlefield 4. I think we might have had like 7 or 8 people all in the same server playing together. 2 squads. JB kept going on the other team from us because he's dog and the boys. But we were all in the Discord together, so he was listening in to find us, and he was relaying all the information to his team. He was typing it out. It was mad cheating, basically screen cheating. It was real dog and the boys, and no, we had some fucking good times. I had forgotten. It was like me, Nate, Morkai, Frisco, JB. JB had a bunch of his mates come in as well. I don't know if I'm forgetting anyone, but it was good. It was fun as shit. And yeah, we're just rolling through Battlefield 4 again. One thing if you're going to play Battlefield 4 again, go to a server that has no jets in the fucking server title, because jets are way overpowered in Battlefield. The speed at which they move means they can get out of range of target lock way too fucking fast. So either you dumbfire them, or they get out of range and then they come back in and they've got infinite flares, which is fucking crazy. Like, that's just insane. They should have a fucking limited amount of flares and then they have to reload, and that would make more sense, but that's not what's happening in that game. So yeah, jets are just shit. Tanks are fun. We had some fucking epic games. Anyway, biggest non-announcement at E3. The reason I said all that is because at the end of every game, JB says GG easy because he's a toxic dog. He's so toxic. It's ridiculous. He's Britney Spears toxic. Um, what was your biggest non-announcement? Like, what are you expecting to get announced that wasn't announced?
Did we? I feel like I maybe mentioned this. I'm still keen on seeing what Ken Levine is doing. It's been,
Oh yeah,
what, like 4.5 years since he announced his new studio. It's been like 8 years since Bioshock Infinite came out. So I'm like, he's someone that I'm really keen on seeing what's going on. This new thing from I guess Brendan Green and what he's working on at
that's
PUBG Corp. That's
that's
probably, yeah.
more of the single player PUBG game, and whatever Brendan Green was working on was what was going to be my answer. Because yeah, I feel like they were noticeably absent, but yeah, whatever Ken Levine's on is a good one too, because I'm very intrigued to see where he goes with it.
Hmm.
Um,
For me, other stuff that was sort of a no-show, we talked about that stuff already. Like a lot of the Warner Brothers games, like I want to see what those things
yeah,
about. Like I want to see this new Suicide Squad game, like what it looks like in action. I want to see this Harry Potter game that was nowhere to be seen. Like talking about like Brendan Green, did you hear this rumor that like PUBG 2 has apparently got cancelled?
no,
This is
what?
from player IGN, who does a lot of news and leaks and that sort of thing about PUBG, and basically saying that his source that he sort of knows in the development side says that project has been cancelled, and like instead that studio has decided to do more like an overhaul of PUBG and update that game, similar to what Overwatch 2 is doing. So
Right.
I don't know. This is kind of fresh news. It only came out like yesterday that I remember seeing it.
Um,
Yeah.
Liam shared a cool video with Jonathan Frakes. Did you see
Oh
that?
yeah, this thing. Yeah.
So, yeah, like I don't know, a little bit of a hint at what's happening with whatever that fucking single player game is, Callisto, something or other. Looks. Well, I thought it was entertaining. It was a good like parody, but yeah, I hadn't seen this PUBG 2 stuff. I guess see what they do. I'm keen to check out this new map when it hits. Keen to fucking install it for one game and then uninstall it as soon as it pisses me off too much, which will be, obviously moments after I load in, or moments after it puts me in fucking Sandhawk instead of the new fucking map, which I guarantee you is going to happen. But we'll have to wait and see it happen. But yeah. Anyway,
Awesome.
good question, JB. Thanks for the question.
Yep. Anything else?
Cool.
Is that the only one?
Nope.
All right.
That's not the show.
It's not the show. That's
JB
not
had a
it.
suggestion.
Yeah.
You got anything to pimp out, Luke?
No.
Yeah, good.
My Twitter account, twitter.com/Luke Lawrie.
Yep. And go to my Twitter account at JoeyJojo, or my YouTube. I put up a couple of videos this week. One playing some Dead by Daylight, and one playing some Phantom Abyss. So go check those out. Have a look at them. The Dead by Daylight one is just sort of gameplay of these cats not understanding what Pyramid Head is about to do to them. And the Phantom Abyss, I sort of commentate through the level, but it's very slightly edited because my recording was being a dick for some reason. It was just, I don't know what they've done, but like sometimes the NVIDIA broadcast is like switching screens or something. I don't fucking know. It was pretty weird. It was like flickering for a little bit when I was on the main menu and all this kind of dumb shit. It's very annoying.
Yeah. You can go watch my last Dead by Daylight video. It's up to 115,000 views, I think, at this stage.
Flexo.
I'm like 8 followers, subscribers away from being able to set my own name, I think, on my YouTube channel. So go click that button, and then I can give people a link.
Top.
Otherwise,
Nice.
my YouTube is youtube.com/ux1pipe4 something like that.
Sweet. Pipe. Did you say pipe? How dare you?
Pipe. Horizontal bar. Anyway, yes, that is the show. You can find us on iTunes, Android, Windows Store, Spotify, YouTube, all the places you get podcasts from. You can find us on the Gap or the GA Podcast. Please rate and review the show if you have a moment. It helps other people find us. If you'd like to send us questions, you can go to our Discord page, thegapodcast.com/Discord. You can jump in there, leave questions. Go to the general channel, talk about all sorts of nonsense. Otherwise, there's voice channels. You can play games with other people. The flavor of the week, I guess. Sea of Thieves, we've been playing that. People playing, obviously, Battlefield, old school Battlefield 4, and whatever else is on the list. Dead by Daylight, want the 5-stack. Get it happening.
Oh yeah, let's do a 5-stack. Let's organize that.
You can also go to our social media phase, facebook.com/GA podcast, twitter.com/GA podcast. You can go to our YouTube page, thegapodcast.com/YouTube. You watch the podcast in video form, or you can go to our website, thegapodcast.com, and we got links to all those things we just spruiked out, including being able to find past episodes of this show or other featured content that you might want to go check out on there. That is all thanks to our Patreon members. If you want to help support the show, you can go to patreon.com/GA podcast, become a recurring member, help support the podcast, pay the bills, keep things going. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. You're the best.
Yeah.
We love you.
And you get the podcast a little bit early if you're on the correct tier. Like usually a day. It's about a day early. That is it for this week. Next week, I have no idea what is out. Anything on your radar we talk about?
I thought of a game before, and now I've forgotten. We're definitely going to have some games that we'll have played. I can't remember what though. I'm going to play It Takes Two with Nate.
Oh, okay, that'll be interesting.
Yeah. That'll be.
It's
something.
a game you're supposed to play with your partner, and you're like, I'm gonna play with Nate.
Like, my wife's shit at games. Fuck that. We're just gonna troll the shit out of each other and then complain about how the game doesn't work. Yeah. So there's that, and I don't know what else. It feels like there's lots of games. Lots of games to play, but just not sure what yet.
Anyway, hey, look, we didn't have much to talk about tonight, and we got through like 3.5 hours. Lots of demos, so that helped us out. Anyway, as I said, that is it. Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you all next week. Bye.
Love you. Bye.